Hello, good morning, and welcome to the AM show for today, Wednesday, 17th of May, 2023. Well, by the grace of God, we've met again. Now, one thing in life that we must notice is that we must learn to depend solely on God and not on humans. Human beings are likely to disappoint you almost all the time, but trust God to come through for you always. Now, a friend once told a guy who had moved into town that he was going to sponsor the furnishing of his room since he was new in town. This guy went around doing window shopping. Guess what happened? When it was time for him to buy the things, the friend asked him why he thinks he, his friend, has to do all that for him. Disappointment written all over his face. When he trusted God for his support, he got everything, and I mean everything. Room plus furnishing for free. That's the power of depending on God. Now, when you read Psalm 62, 5-9, it says, I depend on God alone. I put my hope in him. He alone protects and saves me. He is my defender, and I shall never be defeated. My salvation and honor depend on God. He is my strong protector. He is my shelter. Trust in God at all times, my people. Tell him all your troubles, for he is our refuge. Human beings are all like puff of breath. Great and small alike are worthless. Put them on a scale, and they weigh nothing. They are lighter than a mere breath, and that's why you should learn to trust in God. I feel strongly that someone out there needs this particular message. So as you step out today, learn to put your trust in God. Now, this is all we have for you on our menu this morning. We'll bring you news review where we have political scientist and director of Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana, Dr. Kwame Asante, being our guest for this morning. Again, we'll launch you into the big stories. We're looking at transport operators who are from today going to reduce their fares by 10%. This decision was announced in a statement released by the road transport operators, announcing that fares will be reduced effective today. The new fares will affect shared taxis, intra-city, trotro, intercity, that's long-distance buses, and haulage vehicles. Would try and bring you the views from across the country and also speak to relevant stakeholders on this particular subject. What are your thoughts on this? Stay with us. Now, it's Wednesday. Courtesy EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, would come your way with AM Business. Today, we check out how a drop in inflation is affecting food prices. Details later on the show. Later on the show, you'd have the chance to join us with your views via phone and on social media. And that's how the show will be. Remember that it's been done with you. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace. I'm just representing a team led by Derek Echo Sam. Welcome to it again. Up next is the AM News. Stay with us. Let's do the AM news now. The Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council, GRTCC, is lashing out at transport operators, describing as misplaced agitations over a proposed 10% fare reduction. The GPRTU and the GRTCC, in a statement, proposed a reduction of public transport fares by 10% to accommodate for the continuous fall in the price of petroleum products observed over the period. This has been welcomed by some commuters who spoke to Joy News here in Accra. Some drivers are, however, unhappy about the reduction.
The crisis. That's what I think.
Well, if everything was engineered by the politicians, then it is a step in the right direction. But the sustainability is what matters. If they will be able to, hold on to it and then take pragmatic measures in order to, sustain it.
While many of the commuters here are so happy that transport fares are going down, many of the transport operators themselves are not happy with the proposed reduction of 10%.
That 10%, they have to do more than that. That 10%, we don't see anything of that 10%. That 10% didn't do anything. Now the economy is there. It's too hard.
It's too small. At least 40% or 30%.
We are using engine oil, brake food, spare parts, ties, and other things. So if they say we should reduce it by 10%, they must make sure that those things which I mentioned too should go down by 10%.
We are going to lose totally. It came for first time that we should reduce fare. We reduce it to a certain level. We didn't hear anything about foodstuffs and many other things. Today you are telling us that there is another reduction, so reduce lorry fare.
While commuters and transport operators have divided opinion on the decrease of transport fares in the country, business owners here at Abosokai say they feel no positive impact at all on the exchange rate and other indices in the business they do.
No, I've not seen any positive about it. This one we buy it at 250, but now it's 500 to 550.
Well, I'm not feeling any impact because the prices of my products is still going up day by day. So I don't think the dollar has come down. It's still rising.
Reporting from Abosokai here in Accra, my name is Carlos Caloni for.
We'll go into details of this particular story later on and on the show. Now to other stories. The Office of the Special Prosecutor is set to open a formal probe into content of Professor Frimpong Boateng's report on illegal mining. The former Environment, Science and Technology Minister, who also served as the chairman of the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, provided more details on his expose when he appeared before investigators at the Office of the Special Prosecutor. There is more in this News Desk report.
On April 20, a leaked report compiled by Professor Frimpong Boateng had the former minister name some top government officials as being complicit in the illegal mining menace.
My report was not to indict anybody, but just to tell the one who asked me to write the report the problems that we face and what I think should be done. It may not be a perfect report, but I stand by everything that I wrote. You know, every Ghanaian is committed. We should show our commitment in the way we act. And eventually, the final analysis, the state of the water body, the state of the forest, and all these things will tell us whether we are committed or not. We can say anything, we can investigate anything we want, but in the final analysis, we have to look at what is happening on the ground, and then we can take our own decisions.
In the report, the renowned heart surgeon indicated that the rot goes as high as the seat of government, the Jubilee House. Professor Frimpong Boateng stressed that the allegation of some 500 mason excavators seized from illegal miners in 2020 were fabrications of some persons in government to get him sacked. Following the claim, there were calls from a section of the Ghanaian society for the state security agencies to look into the report. Subsequently, President Akufo-Addo asked the Ghana Police Service to probe the matter. Today, before the investigators of the Special Prosecutor, Professor Frimpong Boateng provided response to activities and expenditure of the dissolved Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining related to the seizure and management of excavators, machinery, road vehicles, and gold nuggets. But Attorney General and Minister for Justice Godfrey Dame says the content of Professor Boateng's report does not tell the whole story.
Preliminarily, I will indicate that, or it suggests that it is not the full perspective of issues that were addressed by the respected professor. It is just his view on certain matters. And it is being put through the processes. I understand that there are some petitions as charged and Special Prosecutor's Office. That is the process that we all have to subscribe.
However, he insists the work of the Interministerial Committee helped in addressing the damage to the environment caused by mining firm Imperial Heritage.
I think the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining has succeeded in seizing the equipment of Heritage Imperial. For me, it lies foul in the mouth of any person to criticize the actions of the IMCM at that time. And if the Attorney General has, with all respect or in all humility, proactively taken steps to have the judgment set aside and all, it should be something that we should really appreciate and not criticize and really question why that had been done by the High Court itself.
Some agitated staff of GIHOC distilleries are demanding the immediate removal of their managing director, Maxwell Kofi Juma. According to them, his incompetence in managing the company has led to a dip in the revenues of the company. They are also accusing him of delaying payment of their salaries, SNIT benefits, and other entitlement, which they say is affecting their livelihoods. They therefore believe his removal from office and allowing a new management to take over will improve the performance of the company. There is more in the following report.
The workers, who appeared visibly unhappy, about their conditions of service gathered outside the premises of the company to register their displeasure. Their demand is for the payment of their salaries, SNIT benefits, Provident Fund, and other entitlements. Despite these demands, they also want the managing director of the company, Maxwell Kofi Juma, removed because of incompetence.
The challenges that we have, our SNIT has not been paid, our Provident Fund has not been paid for almost 18 months now. So this is what we are fighting for. We are not fighting the management and we are not fighting the managing director. So this morning that we have police people on our premises here and then doing that, doing this, we don't know what's happening.
The CIA how on say, yeah demonstration. Yeah, you may be named to toy ye. Na, ya papa obayare. No, call Kakrana AMC. Ebe so adwuma within 2 weeks. And you may be at to turn aquam. Ama akoye kakra fine. Say no, yes, ya pay IMC. It's on your say. You bet you aneka. Na yema IMC no. Adwuma no mo nyana because tourists in your salary come 2 months in yentua yakaye.
MD buy no. O boy, isu baby no. Why? Debentina why say because me my wallet no yire ni ma o. Akam ucha 2 months pay. I didn't throw ucha because me wayire ese me man akoma. Me bon akoma me twa me ba e go school. Wo ne nkro for enjoy. Ya ka chaw sa asem we ya wonte.
Although management of GIHOC distilleries were unavailable for a response to the concerns of the workers at the time Joy News visited the scene of protest, one Nana Hima, who identified herself as a sales supervisor, told Joy News the actions by the staff were unwarranted.
Just wake up and they are doing demonstration against the MD. They should bring their paying slips from last year. They should bring their paying slips for 2018 or 2019, and then you see how much they were taking and how much they are taking now. How much they were taking 2019 and how much they are taking now. Ungrateful people.
So are you saying that their concerns are not legitimate? They needed not to.
Every company is going through challenges. Every company is going through challenges. Not just GIHOC. Every company, they are going through challenges. Not GIHOC alone.
So how do you intend to solve their problems?
We are solving a problem by increasing our our sales. The sales is not going. If you sell, we bring money, but we are not selling. If you are not selling, how can we give you somebody that you are taking less than 1,000 Ghana cedi? Now you are taking more than 1,000, and you are being ungrateful.
Meanwhile, the workers were later called back to the yard of the company by management for a meeting. Reporting for Joy News, Samuel Mbura, Accra.
Meanwhile, management of the company has described the actions by the aggrieved workers as a sabotage. Nana Kwesi Edubofo, a sales manager of GIHOC distilleries.
Why? The very people doing the agitation, they are from the technical, and part of them are production staff. And do you know why I mentioned the technical? Not too long ago, the board dissolved an IMC, that is the Interim Management Committee. When the Honorable Kofi Juma was on sick leave, the board members instituted a committee to steer the affairs in his absence. And the technical manager, right, was one of the IMC committee. Why did the people not stage demonstration when the IMC was in the seat? Are you getting it? Why do they decide to stage upon the assumption of Honorable Masoko Juma today? So what happened 3 weeks ago? That was different from today.
So how long has the MD been away?
He's been away for 2 months. Only 2 months. You know, his sickness was on and off. So with this, the past 2 months, that he saw that he need sick leave so that he can see to himself. Are you getting it? So he's been away for just 6 weeks or almost 2 months.
So why, or what do you think may be the motive behind the demonstrating or protesting the day that the MD who went on a sick leave resumed work?
I don't know. Believe me, I don't know. But if you tell me if there is any element of sabotage, I would say yes. Because if indeed their grievances are genuine and they want to do it right, why did they wait till the assumption of MD today?
Where is the sabotage coming from?
believe him, I will say it rightly, and I will say it once again. The sabotage is coming from the IMC, the Interim Management Committee that was instituted by the Board of Directors, that was dissolved last night.
Why do you think so?
Oh, why do I think so? Why were the people did not stage the demonstration 3 weeks ago or yesterday that decided to do it today? Why do they decide to demonstrate today, but not when the IMC was sharing the affairs of the company?
You think someone is interested in the MD's position?
I'm telling you, someone is very much interested, especially the FC. And you know the ironic part of the whole situation? That FC was employed by Honorable Kofi Juma 2 years ago. In fact, he brought his application 2 years back. He was begging the man to have a work from because he's not working and things are not very right with him. Now, is that the way you need to treat your employer? Somebody that give an employment and they ask you to hold for the fort for me. Why someone is sick leave?
To some politics now, and Vice President Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia says he is convinced the NPP can break the 8. Addressing delegates in Techiman on Tuesday, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who has already met majority MPs to communicate his interest to lead the party into the 2024 elections, said the elected flag bearer of the opposition NDC is an old foe whom the NPP knows how to defeat. He called for unity ahead of the 2024 general elections.
We all know that we will be voting in 2024, and you all believe that NPP, by the grace of God, will break the 8. The person the NDC is bringing is still the old foe we all know. We know how to beat them. All that we want is for everyone to allow unity to prevail in the party. When we unite, we will win. We will break the 8. So every one of you should focus on the NPP breaking the 8. It is possible.
An aggrieved member of the opposition National Democratic Congress, the NDC, Douglas Mensah, who filed a suit at the Sunyani High Court to stop the party from conducting Saturday, May 13 parliamentary primaries in the Banda constituency, is confident of winning the court case and eventually the elections. He accused regional party executives of plotting against his bid to represent his constituent and adds that incumbent MP Ahmed Ibrahim would lead the party to opposition after winning the 2020 polls with a vote difference of 39. The case, which will be heard on Wednesday, May 17 at the Sunyani High Court, will determine whether there will be a contest or Ahmed Ibrahim would go unopposed. Anas Sabet has more.
The Bono East region is traditionally an NDC-dominated area, with the party currently occupying 8 out of the region's 11 parliamentary seats, and with the party heading towards its internal primaries ahead of the 2024 polls. More efforts are being put in place to ensure that the party's Agenda 1111 is achieved. The Techiman South constituency is currently one of 3 constituencies in the hands of the NPP, and extra work needs to be done to ensure that the NDC wins it back after losing out to the NPP in the 2016 and 2020 elections. Dr. Awal Mohammed, who is facing stiff opposition from 2 other aspirants on Saturday, is confident that he has what it takes to unseat the famous Deputy Local Government Minister Martin J. Mensah Kosa when given the nod by the delegates.
What I'm bringing differently is that I have been within the constituency, unlike him who has not stayed within the constituency. I've been in the constituency all my life, and I've been with the people. Then again, I've also, within my own shot, I've been able to help for some young men to have more jobs, because I've brought Pragia Techiman and I've stood behind them. So if you come to the youth, I have over 2,500, their leader. And so you can see that this one is going to translate into votes. Besides, I'm going to repeat the history in Techiman South. Techiman, and we always have this history that somebody who is always seen as a lesser known person always comes to unseat a bigger one. And this tells you that Techiman South, we don't have that. We will look at people who are within the constituency and who serve you. And I know that Awal have served Techiman South, and Techiman, we're going to do everything possible and unseat the deputy minister. For that one, we don't have any fear at all.
Another aspirant who is likely going to need to do extra work should he win the primaries on Saturday to go to Parliament is Johnson Mohammed Bapobe, who will have to battle it out with the current Deputy Roads Minister Stephen Jalula for the Pru West seat.
Because in Pru West, the seat has always been for NDC. We lost the seat for the first time to an MPP candidate. All we need is unity, and I'm very sure with unity of purpose, Pru West, we are going to gain our seat back. Despite the fact that a high-profile personality like Jalula is the Deputy Road Minister, I am very sure that when top man is elected on 13th, we are going to unite, fight him, and claim the seat back, inshallah.
The Kintampo South seat is the third of 3 constituencies currently in the hands of the NPP, and Ahene Champon is optimistic that he has what it takes to recapture the seat which was lost to the NPP for the first time in the year 2020.
I think Kintampo South is a constituency that has been a traditional NDC seat. Unfortunately, we lost the seat for the first time. Now, as a candidate and as a staunch member of the NDC, we are bent on reclaiming that seat because when we lost the seat to the NPP, we cannot say or tell or show any development or anything, any good thing that the party has done in the constituency. And so the youth are poised for a change. They're looking for someone who has the competence and who can do the work for them. As we have come to learn and to go through the training, we are going to protect every vote. We are going to make sure that the vote and the voice of the people are heard. And I know that Ahene Champon is going to emerge.
Incumbent Member of Parliament for Kintampo North, Joseph Kuma, popularly known as Jakala, who increased the party's vote difference from 45,000 to over 60,000, is confident of retaining his seat and asks that the 5 others aspiring to represent the party on Saturday are only doing so to announce their presence in the party.
My chances, by the grace of God, are so bright. This is a young man who served his party for close to 12 good years. And based on the records I have by serving the rest, when he got to my turn, the vote in Kintampo North increased from a 45,000 margin to 16,460. Jakala is a grassroots person, and so every Tom, Dick, and every person within the constituency knows who Joseph Kwame Kuma is. And so the volume of votes. Now, my brothers who have come out to contest me, yes, for me, positively, I think they have come to make themselves popular.
Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Techiman.
To other stories now, and majority of people infected with rabies in the Ashanti region are dog owners who suffered dog bite. The region recorded 12 fatal cases last year, with 4 of them recorded in the last quarter. Unfortunately, the cost of rabies vaccines and apathy among dog owners in vaccinating their dogs means many dogs are left unvaccinated. Over 6,000 dogs are being targeted in an anti-rabies vaccination exercise in the Bosomtwe district, one of the areas noted for high incidence of dog bite in the region. There is more in the following report by Ohiming Tewia of our health desk.
Rabies infection usually occurs following a deep bite or scratch from an animal with rabies. Transmission to humans by rabid dogs accounts for up to 99% of cases in Ghana. Its transmission can be stopped through vaccination. Asante Achim South, Bosomtwe and Kwabri East are some of the latest districts that recorded rabies cases in 2022. According to the Ghana Health Service, people infected with rabies in the Ashanti region, majority being dog owners who suffered dog bites, have all died. Dr. Mabel Abudu is the regional director of the veterinary services.
We had 77 specimens, and then 38 out of the specimens we received were positive, and then 36 negative. And the human involvement were about 43 persons available. But the challenge is that people don't feel the need to pay. it's expensive. When you go to the hinterlands, you may have somebody having about 10, 15 dogs. Even if you are charging 10 cedis per dose, and then he's having 150 Ghana cedis, he will not do. So, and all these are adding up to the numbers.
Bosomtwe, one of the rabies endemic districts, recorded 2 rabies deaths from 103 dog bites last year alone. A collaboration between the Ghana Health Service and the veterinary services, with the support of UK-based Mission Rabies, will see 6,000 dogs in the area vaccinated free of charge. A downpour on day 1 of the 2-week exercise will not stop the 7 teams of vaccinators in their door-to-door activities. Dr. Timothy Chumesi Mensah is Health Director for Bosomtwe District.
We are really appreciative of this thing, this support that we are getting from Mission Rabies to vaccinate every dog in this district, and it is free. And that is why it's very important to us. And it's also important because we get a lot of dog bites. Last year, we had 103 dog bites reported in our facilities. And you know, part of our district, they assess health in Kumasi. So we are looking at only those who reported at our facilities. And out of this total number, we had only 2 rabies deaths. Even though it is a lot, we feel that were it not because of this vaccination that has been happening, we might have probably experienced more deaths. That's why, in spite of the rains and everything, we are still out there giving out these free vaccines to every dog in the district.
A pilot project in 2029 in the Bosomtwe District by the Mission Rabies saw the vaccination of over 4,000 dogs. From Kumasi, for Joy News, Oiminteria reporting.
And that's how we wrap up the news on the AM show. There's more on myjoyonline.com. Stay with us because we have more for you on the show this morning. Welcome back to the AM show. Time for us to review what the papers are reporting this morning. And this segment is brought to us by courtesy of Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. We're offering free prostate screening and free female fertility screening locations. We're doing that in Accra, or Spintex opposite Shell signboard, in Kumasi, Kronom, Abuehia behind Angel Educational Complex. In Takrade, we are at the Anaji Estate, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa, Siama, in the Nzima area. You can give us a call on 0244 86 70 68 or 0274 23 43 21. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic diseases. Do your best to pass by so that we can ensure that you are good. We're being joined by Dr. Kwame Asah-Sante, who is a political scientist and the director of Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. Doc, I'm grateful. Good morning to you. I hope you're well.
Good morning, my brother. I'm very well.
Great. I have the Daily Guide newspaper. I have the Finder newspaper today, the New Crusading Guide, the Daily Statesman, the Custodian, and the Daily Publisher, the Ghanaian Publisher, really. Let's start off with the Daily Guide newspaper. On the front page, hand over car court orders side chick. Okay, so that's a story of the popular story of the side chick, Bruhaha, that came up some time ago this year. OSP probes Mahama over 14 million cedis delegates bribe, and the bribe is in inverted commas. GHS girl electrocuted. Otunfo with this, so Otunfo chases stolen Asante regalia in the UK. Let's start off with a story on page 3 of this paper. It says, former President John Dramani Mahama is under investigation by the Special Prosecutor's Office over allegations of bribery. According to a report, Mr. Mahama paid over 14,203,680 to 355,092 delegates of the National Democratic Congress in the party's recently held primaries. The money, which was given under the guise of transportation, has been deemed as an inducement and classified as a bribe by the special prosecutor due to Mr. Mahama's contest for the flag bearership position. The special prosecutor's office considers that the money was given to influence voters in favor of Mr. Mahama, who was competing for the party's flag bearership position with two others. But Dr. Kwabena Dufour later withdrew from the race, leaving the contest to Kojo Bonsu and Mr. Mahama. A statement issued by Mr. Mahama's campaign team confirmed that they provided some delegates with transportation and assured that the support was not a replacement, but intended to augment what the party is providing to all constituencies. So this is what happened on the D-Day. We were told and we reported that all delegates were given 40 cedis each, and that was coming from former President John Dramani Mahama as a way of appreciating them coming and giving them transportation. Really, it was classified as TNT. What do you make of this happening and the dimension the OSP is taking this to?
Yeah, I think thanks for the opportunity. But before I begin, our usual comment on one or two, if I have any.
Sure.
Let me chip in that one before I come into this. If you look at, I want to touch on the issue of one of the K2 constituencies where Agbana was supposed to have won, and later there was a recount and the rest of them.
After the recount, there was they tied according to the EC. But yesterday, the party's functional executive committee declared Agbana as winner of that particular primary.
Yes, and that is where I'm coming from. If you look at what transpired, they saw some anomalies regarding the stamp that ought to be on the ballots. And when they did the account, they realized that the contestants, all of them, had some ballots without stamp. And it was after the counting that they realized that there was a tie, and then the functional executive took the decision to break the tie. This brings to sharp focus the issue of why would somebody atone for the sins of others, or somebody who was supposed to deliver his duty. Is it the case that it was Agbana who was supposed to stamp the ballot? No. Whoever's duty it was, there was a negligence on that. So I believe that going forward, there should be a way of handling it. I know the court has ruled on this, but it can also be something that will create problem if we don't look at it well. Somebody can deliberately, not stamp it and then deny you the opportunity to be a winner of the contest. And then he may be punished for his offense, but has denied you something dear to your heart. I don't know how we want to resolve it, but I like the way the NDC took a decision to deal with it head on. I think going forward, we should be very critical. We should look at the process again and see who will be responsible for what, and should it affect the candidate who is supposed to be the winner of the election. It's something that we have to look at, because as we're going to 2024, who knows? It may pop up. And how do we resolve it? And that one, will it be resolved by any party or, the courts?
Obviously, that will be resolved by the court. Yesterday, I was asking the party why they took that position when they should have allowed it to the law court. And they said, in this particular primary, the EC organized it on behalf of the party, and therefore the party could take that decision. But in future, if it happens in the general election, the court has to do that. But again, for the party to have done that, is it not opening up ways for this to take a new dimension in the near future if this should happen again?
I don't see it coming up because, you see, NDC could have organized the election itself without the support of the EC, because no law makes it mandatory for the EC to come in. It's only the executive election. So if it had happened that way, the NDC could have taken that decision. Yes, it tells you that this type of election, it is the party that owns it. So at the end of the day, whenever there is a problem, I think it is fair and proper for them to take a final decision to resolve it. But we are saying that let's look at it globally and see how we can deal with it so as to prevent such occurrence in the national election. Because as you know, in national elections, tempers are high, stakes are high, and the rest of them. And then somebody can deliberately do this. If there is this problem, how do we deal with it? So do we need to double check before we start the process, or what? I think a solution must be found to this so as to avoid a situation such as we have seen at the national level. Now I'm back to the alleged bribe that has been given to voters by former president through the story that we have read. It is a difficult one because if you look at the political parties, they will tell you they give TNT to their supporters, and it's all the parties. It's not only the NDC or whichever part. All the parties, they do. They give TNT, they give T-shirts, and they give all those things. If you want to see them as what, a means of inducement, then you realize that the definition has to be widened to even include T-shirts, include any other thing that could be beneficial and all that. So I am happy that these things have come up, and then the state is trying to look at it. The solution to it will be a learning curve for all of us, because we have seen certain practices that have found their way or expression into the electoral plane, and posing a whole lot of problem. I believe that at the end of OSP's work, we will know how to go about these things so that we deal with some of these problems once and for all.
In terms of trying to sanitize the political landscape, how do you expect this to progress so that we can get a desired end result where some of these things will be out of our elections? Because people are becoming worried about how we are monetizing elections in this country.
Monetizing election is not a good thing at all. It's part of the corrupt system that you and I work against. But we have to find a way of dealing with it. And one sure way is to encourage state funding of political parties. As soon as the state comes in and these things are handled at the level of the state, some of these problems will eventually be a thing of the past. We should, whilst waiting for that day to come, we should also engage or continue to engage our people, and I'm talking about political party supporters and the whole country at large, about importance of advocacy to the direction that there's no point trying to be induced by any means, because the short meaning is that you have, as soon as you accept any form of inducement, you have compromised or shortchanged yourself for the next 4 years or some few years to come. And why do you want to do that? So when people get the message clear, then our attitude towards some of these things will change. We should make it a conscious effort. The political parties must do that. And then NCC must take it upon itself and then continue to drum it the ears of everybody, so as to know the relevance of voting on your conscience, voting based on messages and then manifesto and the rest of them, and avoiding inducement, which will shortchange you at the end of the day.
Shouldn't this also then spark the whole discussion about political party financing, such that the state, once it finances political parties, we can then demand what these monies are used for? Such that, for example, in this case, we could have then asked, okay, so what is the source of this over 40 million cedis that was spent on paying for TNT for this delegate?
Yeah, that's what I said earlier, that there are two solutions. One is what? The political party financing. It is a discussion that we always touch and leave. But I think from look of things and the way things are unfolding, it is important that we bring it to the fore and look at it carefully and then discuss it with the view of what? Making sure that our findings will be implemented, and at the end of the day, the state will fund political parties. If we don't do this, these problems will continue to haunt us, and the political actors who are beneficiaries of these processes will always shy away from these things, and they will come to haunt us anytime we are going for election. We are growing as a democracy, so some of these things that tend to undermine the democratic process, we should find ways of dealing with them head on.
Must it be the duty of the contestant or the political party to ensure that delegates are able to move from their homes to, voting centers to cast their vote?
It is not the duty of any political party. No. Okay. You are going to express yourself in voting by exercising your right, your franchise. If you are exercising your right, who should pay for you? I mean, nobody pays for you to exercise your right. No. But the political parties have taken undue advantage of the poverty situation and other challenges that people have to bring in this type of idea, and then they've been defending and applying it all day long. That is how I see it. But as I've said already, the only way out is that we should begin the conversation about political party financing, where we bring on board some of these lingering challenges and see how the state can deal with it so that nobody comes into this area with that type of problem. We are even talking about TNT. T-shirts, it's another thing. Even if a T-shirt costs about 50 or 100 Ghana, you can imagine when they give it out to people at campaign grounds and all that. Food and all that. These are all, if you are talking about inducement, it can be anything. It can be material, it can be monetary, it can be whatever. So if we open up the conversation about political party financing, some of these things will be brought on board and look at it critically so that we can find lasting solution to them. Yeah. Okay.
Now, another news in the Daily Guide, which of course we're going to deal with this morning on the show, is that transport fares will go down by 10%. The transport fares have been reduced by 10% effective today, May 17, 2023, following the recent downward trend of petroleum prices. Road transport operators announced a reduction in a release jointly signed by Emmanuel Ohene Yeboah, General Secretary of Ghana Road Transport Coordination Council, and Godfred Abulbere, General Secretary of Ghana Private Road Transport Union, GPRTU. The new fares will apply to shared taxis, intracity buses, popularly called Trotro, intercity, that is long-distance buses, and haulage vehicles. The release stated that the reduction was in line with the administrative arrangement on public transport fares and was a response to the observed reductions in the price of petroleum product over the period. It urged all commercial transport operators to comply with the new fares and post them at their loading terminals. Now, when this story broke, we've heard some drivers also say that, well, this would have an adverse impact on their businesses. What must we do as a country to ensure that, transport fares and fuel price reductions and increases quite go directly such that when there's a reduction, then we'll have automatic reduction in transport fares, but not to be determined by organizations so that drivers can say that, well, we won't agree or will agree?
It's a difficult one. I think the economists have the way out. But as a layman, I believe that the stakeholders should sit and then discuss this thing. Then they will find a way out to this problem. Because somebody like me, when I look at all these things, then I ask myself, are we in a command economy or a capitalist economy? And if you are in a command economy, such arrangement is easy to do. But when you are in a capitalist economy where these things are guided. Demand or your ability to consume a commodity or a service is demanded by your purchasing power, then the narrative changes. So I believe that the stakeholders must get their acts together, sit, dialogue, and then find something that is meaningful for these problems to end. Otherwise, we are going to have these problems with us for a very long time because of the economic system that we have, that the laissez-faire system, that is, we are allowed to do what we are supposed to do, provided we do it within the framework of the law. And that for a free market system, this type of thing is difficult to handle. But as I said, I'm a layman, the economist, the stakeholders, they know what to do. But mine is that I look at it from a political economy perspective.
But so as a consumer, when you hear drivers say that, well, price of spare parts are still going up, and therefore, even though there's a reduction in fuel, we cannot reduce our fares. How does that come across to you? And how do we solve that particular issue of drivers using other, factors to determine whether we reduce or not?
That is a difficult one, because even if they don't mention spare parts, they will mention other things that they use to make their business, sustain. So some of these technicalities, I believe the stakeholders are the best people to handle it. They know how to navigate their way around them. Because if you leave it to the parties that are in, who want to lose, they will bring a reason why so. When even prices are even down in terms of spare parts and other things, they will find a way of pushing the price to the consumer through another means. And then that is why I say that the stakeholders have what it takes to be able to look at it carefully, plan it, discuss, and agree on something meaningful for society.
Okay. Now, let's turn our attention to the Finder newspaper. On the front page, it says, Airport Company locks out GRA task force. Dr. Akoto pays homage to late SG Anto. GIHOC staff issue 3-day ultimatum for management to address their concerns. Say 300 million cedis debt has crippled the company. Nigerian jailed 8 years for impersonating ex-CID boss to defraud people. Court convict man of defrauding missile energy of 27.9 million cedis. Now, let's start from GIHOC, because it says workers of GIHOC, the Distilleries Company Limited, have given management 6 major concerns within 3 working days or face their wrath. They also want Maxwell Kofi Juma, managing director of the company, to stay away to enable the interim management committee to continue with its work without any interference. According to the workers, the fortunes of GIHOC distilleries have taken a downturn for the worse under the leadership of Juma, who has been the MD of the company for 6 years now. Painting the dire state of the company, the workers said that during a deba at GIHOC premises on May 4th, 2023, a Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Michael Ocheribefi, announced that the company's debt amount to 300 million cedis. They claim that Ghana Revenue Authority and other suppliers are on the neck of GIHOC and even want to lock the company over unpaid obligations. Despite heavy police presence, the workers, clad in red armband, embarked on a protest at the premises of the company and vented out their frustrations. Per document cited by the Finder, the workers expressed satisfaction with the actions of the IMC and which they are happy and hopeful about and don't want anybody's interference. The MD was there. We are told he went on a sick leave. An IMC body was put in place. And according to the company, they are happy with the IMC for its work and want the MD out. How do we go around this debacle? There is an MD who went on sick leave. Now the company, the worker says, we don't want him. We want the IMC to rather continue.
But there's always a way out. What's the way out? Industrial arrest is not new to the labor market. It's not. That anytime such issues come up, the two parties, that is employees and employers, they meet and then they try to resolve issues. When things become difficult and they are not able to settle issues, they end up in labor commission finally. So I believe that this issue, tempers should come down, and then let management organize a meeting with the agitators, which are the employees. If they are not able to find solution, they must head towards the National Labour Commission for final solution, because that's why the Labour Commission was established, to deal with all labor issues. And if there's a need to move further to the courts, from Labour Commission, they'll be able to see their way clear. I don't think it's a problem that cannot be solved. It can be solved. They have to use the processes, the norms, the procedures, and the rest of them. Once they do these things, I think they should have a lasting solution.
To hear that a company like GIHOC is owing 300 million cedis, and this is a story that is not peculiar to GIHOC, but to most state entities. How do we go around this particular trouble of state entities being engulfed in a lot of debt, not being able to settle them? How do we really deal with that?
One, our solution is that you ask yourself, do we have boards that regulate these parastatals? Yes, we have them. And that is why the boards are constituted, so that they look at the performance of the organization and see the way forward. So I don't see why you have a board and that the board oversees all these things, and yet the company is wallowing in debt. It means that the board, there's a problem that they need to fix, and fix in no time. So the board must look at this and deal with it. Two, we must also ensure that there is prudence in the way we handle resources in organization. Some organizations have the power to borrow and then use it to run the organization. But do they do it along the lines of the rule of law? Do they also make sure that there is prudence in whatever they do? That is where the difficulty is. And the problem comes back to the board. Is the board supervising those who are managers of the organization well? What type of report do they give them from time to time? All these things must be addressed by the board. Once the board is able to sit well and function properly, these problems should not occur. If you are a manager and you are mishandling the resources of the organization, you have the penchant of borrowing and borrowing and borrowing. The board will recommend your removal by the appointing authority, and it's so simple. So if the board will work the way they ought to be, these things will cease to exist.
Well, you've spoken about the board's role. According to the workers, they are owed in salaries from September 2022 to April 2023. Why do this happen when the company is always producing? Why aren't we able to satisfy some of these, core responsibilities of these companies? Because you need to ensure that your workers are paid at the end of the month. You've tackled the issue of the board, but how do we really deal with this issue such that we don't have to be blaming boards, for the company's inability to satisfy, for example, payment of staff salaries?
I will blame the board. Why do we set up boards? They oversee all these things. That is what the CEO, whose duty is to run the day-to-day affair of the organization, and he reports to the board. And how does he get to the board? Does he tell the board that, yes, I've not been able to pay salary, and they say, oh, that's okay, go ahead, anytime you have money, come and pay them? Then what is the board doing? The board must cease to exist, right? It is for these reasons and others that we appoint a board, so that it will oversee all these things. The organization is producing, is it not? It is. By the accounts that we are having now, the organization is producing. So the returns from their work, where does it go? And how do you balance it? And these are a function of management. So if you are mismanaging the organization, this is the type of results that you have. If you are not able to do this, and I'm afraid whoever is the CEO must be shown the way out. And if the board will not also be active, and I'm afraid the board must be dissolved, so that we can have a board that will oversee its activities and make sure that workers who deliver get salary according to the work that they do, and then you stay afloat and produce. Otherwise, then the board should cease to exist. I believe that the problem must be placed at the doorstep of the CEO and the board. Nothing more, nothing less. Because you are not going to ask the president, who is an appointing authority, to come and then ensure that you are solvent and all that. Then why do you create a board? I mean, it is the duty of the board. And then the board also supervises the chief executive to deliver on the basis of what? Their vision, their plan, and the rest of them. Other than that, then these two entities, that is the CEO and the board, they must be able to what? Tell us something meaningful.
All right, let's turn our attention to the Ghanaian publisher. On the front page, it says, "Beware of Mahama, MPP warns Ghanaians. Galamsey fight, AG speaks out. Renaissance Oil MD convicted of 27.9 million cedis fraud. Government to implement natural resources dialogue recommendations," according to Samuel Abojanapo. And he also has the story of Dr. Efree paying homage to SG Anto. Now, let's start with the MPP warning Ghanaians to beware of Mahama. It says the governing MPP has repeated its position on the newly elected flag bearer of the opposition National Democratic Congress, NDC, John Dramani Mahama, saying he cannot be trusted to carry through his promises should he be re-elected in the 2024 elections. According to the MPP, Mr. Mahama's victory speech delivered after the NDC's presidential and parliamentary primaries was unconvincing and an attempt to whitewash his underperformance during his tenure in government. Director of Communications for the MPP, Richard Ahiagba, noted, quote, "Everything the former president said on Monday cannot be trusted. Nobody will be able to hang their hat on it, because if you measure his performance in the past and what he's saying, you ask the simple question, why didn't he do these things the first time?" End quote. Ahiagba stated while speaking on Joy News' AM show on Tuesday. I mean, this is the normal political game, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's interesting. It's coming from the director of communication, my good friend Richard. He couldn't have said it differently, given the position he occupied, so you can understand. But for me, where I sit, if you want to look at what Mr. Ahiagba said, use it as a measure to measure whoever has occupied an office and want to come up for another term. Then you must also extend the conversation to the MPP that can we say that the MPP will have the moral authority to even campaign for the next election when this economy has been mismanaged, where the promise of making the city of Accra the cleanest in Africa, where all the promises that they've given to the extent that the president putting his job online against Galamsey and all these things have failed. So is it the case that the MPP also have they have the grounds to also come up and then ask for a mandate to be renewed for them so that they can break the eight? The Hausa people say do kadaya. They are the same in terms of this. But my feeling, strong feeling, is that whoever has occupied an office and you want to come back, you are coming back on the grounds that there are unfinished business, and it should be something that should agitate your mind, and then you come and then continue and all that. Let us also not kid ourselves into believing that people who occupy office and leave office don't leave any legacy. All regimes, I have a few minutes ago chastised the NPP, but NPP records are also there for the world to see, and so is Mr. Mahama. So if Mr. Mahama wants to come again, obviously there are certain loopholes that he himself has identified, for which reason he wants to come and plug. He is welcome, all right? The decision as to whether he will have power rests on the good people of this country, and that is why we own it to ourselves that we do a proper assessment of whoever want to, prevail upon us to give that person our mandate. We need to do proper assessment. And then once we are satisfied, we give our mandate to that person. But from where Mr. Ahiagba, my good friend, is what he is saying, I know is one of the political talks, because the two parties have also failed us woefully in certain areas, for which reason, if we should use that as a standard, the two parties should not come to us at all.
But isn't it a fair question of you are talking tough about doing ABC when you've served us before? Isn't it a fair question of saying that let's look at what you did when you were in power? Can we trust what you're telling us now?
Yeah, I'm not the one to speak for him, but he will give you answers. That is Mr. Mahama. Any question you pose, he will give. What I am also talking against the NPP, if you bring them here, they will also have answers and all that. Because you can also ask them that, do you think that the way the economy has been mishandled, the NPP also deserve any question? But the parties are the ones that will bear the brunt of answering these questions. But for me, as a student of politics, these are the things that we have seen time and again. But what we are saying, that there's nothing wrong if you have governors and then there are problems. When you are coming again, come and demonstrate to us something that you are bringing new. Otherwise, we are saying that in politics, when you commit blunders, you should not come closer to politics at all. We are a human society, and that when we err and then we realize that we have erred, we should make steps to be able to address these problems and get back to society. Okay. Take it or leave it. This country is built on a two-party system. Every time, one of the two giant parties will win elections. So whether you like Mahama or you don't like Mahama, if one party is not doing well and it's NDC which is supposed to win power, they will win. If it is MPP that is supposed to win power, they will win. What we have to do is to make sure that whatever they present to us, we scrutinize it, and then at the end of the day, force them into taking certain positions that we can hold them to account anytime their tenure of office comes to an end. That is the way to go. But to say that, look, you are going to attack these two parties and the rest of them, I'm afraid these two parties will win power all the time anyway.
Okay, interesting. Today happens to be the day the IMF board will be communicating the IMF will be communicating the result of the board's decision on our request for some $3 billion. What's your expectation as a Ghanaian? Just to wrap it off.
I don't have any expectation.
Oh.
Why? Because this problem is self-inflicted problem. I mean, if you look at the government keep on blaming Russia, Ukraine, the issue of COVID and rest of them. But you and I know that we have had a lot of resources given to us, COVID money, Auditor General reports, the waste in the system, anti-corruption report about the fact that we lose $3 billion every year, the resources that go down the drain in the area of state-owned enterprises and the rest of them. It is lack of prudence that has brought us to this far. Yes, we will be happy that we are going to get resources to lessen the problem we'll find ourselves. But the real question is that giving the resources we have received and mismanaged, and to the extent that now we are going to the IMF, what is the guarantee that this one will manage it well? That is something that should occupy our attention. But I know that once you bring in IMF and they give you money, they bring two things on board. One, they bring discipline, and two, they bring resources. So they are going to dictate to you and all that. We have seen their conditions, which are not anything we want to accept. But hey, now who caused up? We have caused it. So we must be prepared to endure the pain. Okay. But I believe that going forward, we as citizens should make sure that any government that will come to mismanage the economy, we throw that government out in election in no time, so that we don't go to the IMF. It's a bitter place to go because of the condition that exists over there. Dr.
Kwame Asah-Asante, I'm grateful to you for joining us here on the News Review segment of the AM show. He is a political scientist and Director of Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. This segment was brought to us by courtesy of Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. Endpoint, the end to chronic diseases. Well, let me share with you much about what Endpoint intends to do. Endpoint is running some sort of prostate screening, which is free female fertility screening in Accra, Spintex opposite the Shell signboard, in Kumasi, Kronoma Bohia behind Angel Educational Complex, Takrade Anaje Estate, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa, and in the Inzima area, we are in Esiama. Call us on 0244-867068 or 0274-234321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic diseases. We'll take a break here. We'll be back with sports. Stay with us.
Good morning. Let's do sports now on the AM show with me, Muftau Nabila Abdullah. The Ghana Football Association has launched its Ghana Football Association School, an institution meant to develop administrators and former footballers. According to President of the GFA, Ket Okreko, it is important such an institution is put together by the Ghana Football Association to help former footballers who contribute massively to the development of the game in the country.
This is the best opportunity and chance we can create for our ex-footballers who have a lot to offer than they are currently offering. The Ghana Football School will be working with all the institutions to see how best we can support our legends to get themselves at the right levels that they so desire, to have a career pathway beyond what they had on the football pitch. I know there are a lot of ex-players, male and female, who would want to go into governance of the game. For example, the Ghana Football School, working with all the institutions here, will make this possible. Yes, we will make this possible. If it's about arranging for rebates, for discounts, to make it affordable to our heroes, we will. Because governance is a key part of management of football. If you want to be an agent, the Ghana Football School, working with our close partners, will offer you the right levels of education. If you want to go into merchandising, this platform, this vehicle, these partnerships we're going to create will give you the opportunity to know more and to have the right levels of network. This is the value the Ghana Football School brings to the table.
It's been a year and 1 day since the Ghana Football Association sanctioned 24 players for their alleged involvement in a match-fixing scandal. That game was between Inter Allies and Ashanti Gold, a match that was played in the 2021-2022 Ghana Premier League season. The Court of Arbitration for Sport, the World Sports Governing Body that has been put together to hear these cases, have heard the case between the Ghana Football Association and these players. This is according to Head of Players Relations at the Professional Football Association of Ghana, Yusuf Chipsa. He says that they believe the Ghana Football Association did not have enough evidence to sanction their players as they await the decision from CAS.
I think we had a hearing last month. We did the hearing here. The players came to our boardroom. The FA was also represented by their lawyer, now Odufole. We also had our lawyers from FIFPRO who represented us, and so now we are just waiting for the verdict from the arbitrators.
It means that we are close to finalizing the...
Oh yeah. We are. I mean, since hearing has been done, it's close to finalizing. We're just waiting for what the final decision is going to be.
But based on what you heard, are you positive that the careers of these footballers will continue?
Yeah, we are positive because we think there wasn't enough evidence against the players. But again, we also wouldn't want to speak much since the verdict is not out. Yeah. That is why even after the hearing, we've not made any comments or we've not spoken about it. So
I think I'm the first person to hear that the hearing has taken place. Yeah. Mufta is very good with exclusives, you know that.
so let's wait patiently and see how it goes. But the good thing is all the players had they were granted the stay of execution, and that is why they are all being able to ply their trade. They are playing. That is a good thing, because it would have been a very big disaster if the players were still home and couldn't partake in the ongoing season. That would have been a very big disappointment. But it's good that the stay of execution was granted and they are being active now. So let's hope.
The Joy Sports team will be inside Letabia Koshi, specifically Oliver Twist, where we'll be bringing you Joy Sports PAP series. You can join us there for the second leg of the UEFA Champions League tie between Manchester City and Real Madrid. Who books a ticket to join Inter Milan in the grand finale? 90 minutes of football would determine that there could also be the possibility of the game going into extra time. Do not forget to join us at Oliver Twist inside the GPRTU question later tonight. This is our wrap-up sports here on the AM show. You can head on to myjoyonline.com and read some more sports stories. We appreciate your company.
So welcome back to the show. Time for us to get into the main issues and talk about the reigning one. Of course, yesterday, the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council and the GPRTU together announced a 10% reduction in fares. According to them, this is to make up for the continuous reduction in fuel prices over the period. The new fares will affect shared taxis, intra-city, that's trotro, intercity, long-distance buses, and haulage vehicles. They are calling on their members to adhere to the new regulation and ensure that transport fares are reduced by 10%. We had some drivers complain yesterday that it will affect their businesses because spare parts prices are still on the high. Really, what should be the determinant factor in the transport fares fixing? And again, how will we ensure the implementation? Again, once you are out there today, what has been your experience taking trotro or shared taxi this morning? Let's hear from you. Our social media pages are active on Facebook. Do join us there and let's share your thoughts, your experiences today with us. Would ensure that the rest of the world gets to hear what you are telling us on the show this morning. Well, we'll get into the issues and discuss what matters are coming up on the show this morning. Again, with specific reaction to the reduction in fares. It's been some time when we've heard that transport fares have been reduced, but we're getting to hear again when fuel prices have consistently been going down for some time now. According to the GRTCC, the cumulative reduction over the period is 40%, but they could just do 10 because other factors too are there that they have to consider. We've been joined on the line by the General Secretary of the GPRTU, Godfred Albulbiri. He is with us now. Mr. Albulbiri, good morning to you. I hope you're well.
Yourself, how are you?
I'm well. I mean, waking up to hear that transport fares have been reduced by 10% was good enough for me to have a good day.
Yeah,
well,
I know that will be one of your issues. So you are happy to hear that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Let us in on the considerations in arriving at the decision that you have to reduce fares by 10%.
Well, if you say consideration, you are talking about the factors that we considered, right?
Exactly, yes.
You see, the bottom line is that we have continuously relied on what? The behavior of the fuel component, and then to talk about fare increment or fare reduction. And in this case, we had remember somewhere around November where the fuel price margin was around 5.99 and fares were reduced by 15.3%, if you recollect that time, around December. Now, from that time, the 15.99, the fuel prices have started coming down up to, as we speak, around 12.4.
12.5, 12.6.
So we look at that as an issue which we think we need to be a bit fair with our customers, which is a traveling public that we are putting ourselves in business. Now, it's a willful decision by us. There isn't any external body that has forced. The media reporter seems to create an impression that we were asked by the minister or whatever to ask us to come down, and we said no. You see, if that was the case, then we would not have come out in this manner. But we all met and said that, looking at the margin, about some 35% by the time we were meeting, and then it then came at, there's another increment, reduction, which was about 5% about some 2 days ago, about some 40% in total. So if we come down our fares by 10%, it is not out of place.
Okay.
It is not out of place that we should come down by 10%.
We do understand that cumulatively, fuel prices have reduced around 40%.
Yes.
So why give us 10%?
I thought you said you were happy that we give it a 10%.
Oh, I'm happy, but of course, if you could go further, why would we be more happier?
You see, now the explanation there is that whereas we're looking at the fuel component alone and then to reduce, the other factors which we do mention each time has to do with the spare parts, lubricants, and then the fees. Now, the spare parts and then the tires and other lubricants are rather on the ascendancy. They are further increased. Well, there was a recent tax component that was introduced at the port, and then all their wares have met high costs now. So, whereas they are rather increasing, and the fuel is rather coming down. Now, look at the fees. Just by January this year, the insurance companies have increased all their premiums by what? 30%. Even the median ended on 30%, but per the figures we are paying is even more than the 30%. Now, GPRTU has also increased. Assembly fees are all been reviewed. So whether the other components are all on the ascendancy, the fuel component is coming down. So we could not adjust lower than the 10% because of the other factors are all rising. That's the reason.
That's why I wanted us to understand what are the specific factors in arriving at the transport fare that you give us.
I just mentioned that it is the fuel component. It's the daily, that one thinks about the daily, that's the running cost. The more highly cost area, daily running cost is the fuel. But all other factors which I've mentioned, say that there are all other determinants of what? The running cost of a commercial car, which I mentioned spare parts, I mentioned the tires, I mentioned the lubricant, and then the fees that we do pay at lorry parks per day. There are the other determining factors in the running cost of a commercial car. But I'm saying that we looked at this particular review downwards with only the fuel component. I mentioned that.
Exactly, but that's why I wanted to, because if it is true that within the period there's been 40%, and the running cost, as you said, is the fuel, which of course takes the larger component, why didn't you do more than 10, but you are only doing 10?
Even with the 10%, I can tell you that some of our members are having mixed feelings as to why we arrived at that decision. They think that it's just like robbing Peter to pay Paul. If the fuel is coming down and the other side is going up, why do we look at the fuel alone and to reduce? You are aware that quite recently there were some 3 tax components introduced at the port for which affect all the spare parts. The tires per the meeting day, someone mentioned that the tire was around from 2,300 per tire. That's the bigger tires, bigger buses tires. And now it's being sold at 3,200 because of the increase, the introduction of those taxes. So whether those ones are going up, if we look at the fuel alone and then we are waiving off 10%, they think that we'd rather not have them. But generally, the general public coming to board our cars don't have any idea about the parts. Don't have any idea about the lubricant. And then for us to put ourselves in business, the little we can reduce will invite more daily passenger turnout that our vehicles can actually load and go.
Okay. Once you brought the message here, it was expected that this morning the implementation will start. Have you tried to check whether or not that is the case, or there are some people who are trying to deviate from what should be the case?
It is the feedback that will inform us about that decision, that maybe that action to take. But as a coordinating body, we normally write the regions, and the regions will disseminate information to the branches to implement. So when there are feedbacks, it will take same way and get to us, and then we don't have to maybe deploy a monitoring team to go out and supervise. But we don't expect that others will have the difficulty in implementing it. We don't expect that until it happens.
Okay, because yesterday when we spoke to some drivers, they weren't really happy.
Oh yes, I mentioned that we have mixed feelings. Some of them are saying that they're looking at the other components which are rather going up. Why should we look at the fuel component alone and to reduce? They said that. Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, per your statement, the transport, terminals were expected to be pasting some of these things are there. Have you checked to see whether that has been complied with?
Well, I think we supplied them yesterday. We did the calculation and sent to the regions, and the regions will have to send copies them to all the stations, and then they will page them and then effect it today.
Okay.
So we will do our checks at the office to the regions to see whether they have done same.
Okay, I'm grateful, Mr. Awobere, for joining us here. We're also trying to catch up with our reporters on the ground to really understand how this is going. Nana Boachi Yadom is currently at a tech station in Kumasi, joining us with what is happening there. Nana, tell us what you found out at the tech station where you are.
All right, so Brace, we are currently at the Kumasi Tech Junction, where we know that the 10% reduction in transport fares is taking effect today. We are here to engage with some of the passengers, the drivers, and also some of these station masters and find out from them the new fares that will be taking effect today. The 50% reduction, the 10% reduction, as I know, and then we'll find out from them if the passengers are going to cope with this, are they happy with this, are the drivers also going to make sure that they reduce the fares by the 10% as said by GPRTU. So you can see this is a very busy station, and I'll be engaging some of the drivers over here, and I'll be speaking to some of their passengers as well. Driver, me pacha GPRTU say yatete fares so any me kwase wo station say.
Okay, but see I remember the mbedu here no. You pay for that fare ba, am dey share price no be a yenye bi am dey brand nti ye san kan dey, but am say na kwaso ba. Jenny here woman from the brand say to me dey adwuma.
Okay, na first no say 10%. It's 10% no more to say.
And the me share who the pen for dey ba. Say ban san you to me hu dey pay bit me dey atoso.
First no na offer from tech ekwa hefa.
Say me lodu free tech to Ayeduase. Dey akọ. But kwa Ayeduase na 3 series. Dey akọ 3 series 30 pesos. This is benefit so time be am print na dey abre. So passengers ntimi ni echini o card. General na dey adwuma.
It is say na person who say my ready say mo betete so.
E ban kwa dey any problem e betete so.
Ate e ba ya che tete say ya tete petrol so ache pan.
Ba say na ka say benefit na dey price dey break. Who timi fa pay. Who say too much timi fa pay koji say. Benefit dey price dey break say enyi say. Ni say tete so am dey say dey price dey break say enyi say. What dey mention say aha yen timi fa pay dey here.
Me pass me bisa boss. Transport fares na ya tete so no. My ready say mo so mo better so. First now for free tech ekwa hefa.
Tech to Kote.
Tech to Kote now just say
3 series.
It is say I have to 10% no. Mo de beba say.
Say kwere ni bia santi. Yeah, say gidi agina. Ana normal no kra lord fair atiso ka ho na ma wi no ya atiso. On ti atiso kra that's be high.
Enema ben sa na yente so be ha mo.
Make food ne sa no man kitingiti ni oni amonte so.
But me sure say you are willing some betete fairness so ene.
O amotete normal no so dey so betete so.
What he is also trying to tell me is that if the station master comes out with a new price, it is definitely going to take effect today. But for as long as it is not out, they do not know whether it is going to really take effect. But what we are certain of, as I spoke to the station master earlier, somebody will be going to very soon. He told me that he's now printed the new fares and then he'll be giving it to his drivers in no time. So we know that the 10% reduction is going to take effect here at the Tech Junction today. But we'll be finding out from the station master himself if he's willing to do it today, or there's another thing they are taking into consideration before the 10% reduction takes effect. So let's go to the station where we have the station master of Tech Junction and find out from him if, okay, he's actually Alaji. Alaji, Maba.
I will not joke with my work.
He's finding it difficult explaining that the new fares to the drivers because some of them were finding it difficult to accept it. Alaji Bacho, first, no say no more say say. Yeah, just 10%, you know. To say no more the echo 5 cities, the echo 4 cities, the echo 3 cities, you know. Nina mo so say.
The echo 5 cities.
The echo 5 cities, the echo 3 cities, the echo 4 cities, you know. To say no more so say.
Say the echo 5 cities, no. You work here just about 45. What I say. And the echo 3 cities, you know, check here. At is about 250. 2 cities 50 pesos. Zane
drivers no mo be say omo de omo nim say atete fairness
omo de omo nim a yen pen for yen nim it is so far no yen na be show yen show mo nti uba ha na no kana want to you move your car and go there because we are protecting our stations. We don't deal with us so call somewhere entertainment no yeah na only yeah adwuma who listens to us yeah I didn't say yeah buy na yen ka say yen ti say bia say koso a yeah take action. So far as the penny say, yen deal to drivers no, yen mo bia and charge say price in your so no. You have to do our work. Because we are yen adwuma. What tell me can I say? It is a penny phone can be chere na so find na say penny dia here am penny phone no. It yen penny yen che the penny phone ka chere en na dia adwuma.
Na oba adwuma from 6 a.m. ebesi sabre no. En tawantawa bia si wa.
Oh, tawantawa dey me to be who say tawantawa bia si. But let's one will meet me and we one man chance here. I'll call the person and show him. Just say the say net here. Oh, my TFM so obviously say no. I also there. Yeah, Tio, but you was some other topic we one man. That's all listen to them. Who creative or one can so creative confusion I dey. I'm a one. And saying the other for the car, you know. Somewhere the other no. Over for no balancing. Because the telephone quite in every regional, national, urban region, and all the other branches, you know. You have to work on it. What I say? Because no,
omo come and go do pepper for you. And I am to sure say na eden. Akoso. Nti yente so. Nti any station bia eden, eti na yiso. Adent so eden, yente so. Omo am kaso omo teso, omo kaso opinion, but e penny for na assurance says yente so. Am send message eden, am I? The so have to
on message unya no yese mo teso 10% and I say momo di be count.
No. O say yente so 10%. Yente so 10%. It's yente so 10%. I say working. Yente so 10%. Say ba say time or two bedroom. I want to buy say yentu. Increase here. Now the ba say yente so. O say yente so. Say the ben for say
fuel prices no so na aba from no ye kwa enu ye hwe enu say e bi besa mo besa te so bi ma na asese
ye dey ke obi anu obi a pese bi an krom obache ko no be jade aho che be den e be ni krom so obi a pese bi obetima di sa wo so ka afro ni ade no so be hu han kakra fuel price dey ba from a ye pe ye nje ye pe so that's ade ne ko so dem ma system no more huge tension. Also, what's about for my visa? Be a come. Said the pen no.
Mamma Misa finally 10% ni idea na mo share anymore. And as na mo hear ni mo say ebe cost kakra na ebe ba form.
Normally, yet me can say 10% in man. Yes, can say yeah, branch, yeah, nkwala. Impenifo. Ti dom ko try some work here, ko si 10% no. E no me de bre no. What I say? But yet me charge you say be as but omo de. The impenifo be ka be an eh omo ro mo na say papa den. Amaye. Say ye wa say ye hwe na ndu to mo makodi ho adwuma no say 10% na bebo yan. Why not? Say 15% na bebo yan. Nyina no ye be so penifo na ye den ye down mo. What I say?
Bosumi na mo hwe ni mo say ebe ba be yesen ankasa. Mo target pan na yesen.
Timi nya target wo so. Dem di ka che wo no. Me timi ka say say. Ye penifo na dey abetra. Aye adwuma no. Ti dem penifo be ka say obokwa target. Say 20%, say 10%, say 15%. Moreover, every penny for one every. Then you know, but penny for on the Omaka Chewano, and a dear Juma. And if I pay and find the ticket, it might be a mere money. Until some penny for a day, I'm my approval. They lead to them penny for the Omaka Channel, and I said, dear Juma.
Me call o station here no mini drivers no be edi nkomo early answer kra na me ba honum na ebi mo cheme say omo be say ba mo the first ne ba enekra na o meye na china ebi mo so say omo say asay no 12 o'clock.
Okay, and no so opinion no. So what I say. Na make I say, yeah, me message my message by Nuchi. Boss send message by Nuchi. Now me work at no, let's say me be here and I say, I was say, no Wednesday, you start here day. At the edge, man, because of I almost say Wednesday or start the edge, man. General, you know, so go be and the coach. So them guys, on my approval. I'm passing, so say, on my approval. And my paper behind it. O say didn't say for your channel over your juma. And Timpani don't make a channel and the dear juma. Was no can the penny say, what me yano.
Se me tell we are up at the penny for the kind of Bahab has sent in Mexico.
Penny Wabahab of Soviet who said this in Mexico. I'm about Grandma or instruct Mr. Cabacqua or Lord Crown. Didn't mention Mr. Macano a day. You have to put your measurement. No guys about Chester, no, Minya, and Interma, Sadinabe, Abasu. But for now, they just say, they make one for now, said, no 12 o'clock when they say. Be okay, say the pen.
It's certainly by 12 o'clock. You won't say near my equity.
Allah, we are be a come. We are understanding because Tabeno, or more Mokoyanaba, most Econo, most much say, I echosu. The from now up to 12 o'clock, I just said, you have no master the pen, inshallah.
Master Messaba Hono, but my Mimmy said, Papa, Pacho, Mobile no near my echosa, Wahanum say, oh, you're driver now.
Pacho, me driving.
Near my shall say, Equose.
Medasi. And a penny at his almost and tea, Lord of Fairness. Now, no question, here dress in the MY cry hardring, and saying, say, near my boy a day who come as is equator, and near my dear can what you mark. A quastro sa quastro, sort of say, Tino, yeah, parks are the MY cry. BM says the same, and the real term income say, a bunny term, you say, was had a bar and shall say, almost a yanka, and look at Enna, a pretty for us here, much. Oh. And my boy, then the cousin party, I buy no one wire, papa. I promise for enough of Camis income tax, you almost say, Yen Canon. A year bus Yenka. Input to Naba, but I put for enough of home, and I may say, much him and a Jimmy 1 point Nula. And the coin I in Sutra a year to Tiabani, as someone say, one more pan, this idea, admire.
But me person me bisa say, why already say, Betty, or fairness so.
fair no dey fair na answer dey because semuni this year who say mazif fatete wo nema so because first blue food near turn 1 to 20 me can say 12 this say you turn 30 this what I say the best young say the MY kula MY
unye waje say odie
oh say pank say the this one dey enema pa akwama say nepa dey yenya adwen say
but that's mama bisa mate na no person o che bibi na wo kasa wo de unye waje so bete so
na bi of come say ntimi to hwe brefu bibia for ntimi to Ghana say etapa to na mo pack here na mo la vita phone start so man mo nti bibia so mo ti bibia so dia ya se bete so o mo nti so na for so ntimi na hwe man ye and so ko ntimi to so no brefu na to la ntimi na hwe ya kwan nyanye so mo say kwan nyanye sabeto ma kwakwa na ubia na ya so fia kwan ni nyina anye o kwa no ka na boba mlam sa na ese o de koya na eji with come azimu o be dey at fellow fan so
let's say passengers afro wo kai unye waje so betete so
abia bi ofada bi anu na meje
o je say eya na o je say
me ntibi the master o ye me ye timi
na me patch say from a hat to macro na wo no je say
55
it's 55 na na abeje
55 na
it's omo foka ni nyina wonya waje so betete
amenya ma adwene sa menya ma adwene
GPRTU no kran ananso kra endra say yenti niema yenti lord fair so
GPRTU issue letter say effective 78 and net day Wednesday take effect
so ebe kind endra angel from say yenti so yenti ebo no so na so mo say yenti so endra no kind or can radio station
but mama nti so chesi ya can say mo yenti so yank yepet ba niema board no do adwadifo kunyan koto oye adwuma koto into the miensa 55 series ni ba ti lo first dia mfa so ni yenti so omo ye no mo ni yen kan ye ba yenti lo fe bia so ye ba je ni pen na no ari ye ba die me pa cha oboso mo nte so wo ye passenger wani je ho
me ba cha o de be wo so mo te so amai ni mo ye dene nti esere o mo nte so na ne ma nkọ fom kakra ma ye
amani ma ye tinti nya de ni ma lo fe yenti so biem ni ye pa ye ba je de ba je na no na ba je yenti so ye da mas me ne papa en kasa da pa cha enna new transport first no it take effect drivers no person mo betete bi mo so betete so bi so mo tete so wan kasa no hu ne say
me jidi say e wo say o mo te so me be ya baby am foka e o mo time je me 3 series ba me be o je me 2 series minim say enti so na I take effect dia mentimi hu ba me jidi say o mo te so abeboa ye ama ye nyina ye ho atoye
baby ana wo free ba no hefa
ona me free silicon tech police station chiro batek
first na silicon to tech near Joe say
mo je me 3 cities but mate ni je me 2 cities I don't know say
na silicon there uche ma ya teso amamo
actually I don't know say ebi o wa obetimi adashe from mate na nkasa obetimi akase okay minister santije ba we dey me hu ni sade
you can see that some of the drivers are not really happy with the decision that's taking effect today, the 10% reduction in fares. They are saying that there are several items in the market that haven't been reduced. So they do not see why they should reduce transport fares. They are saying that the magazine, when they go to the magazine, they have not reduced the price of some of the things they use for their cars. So they do not see why they should reduce their prices. But however, Mami Bissau, now what you say,
last year, it's a fair so any problem. This year, any problem. But brefu, spare pass, yeah, so are and I drove from quiet 2 years, so sorry. Yeah,
almost person say 4 prices a from Kakra, and you tell
I come from say. I'm on my country. They are told the last 2 months in Yasania, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, there for yeah, boy, band say a better name, Masono. Timemuma for no, almost person on the Tommy Deso. And a BBA by Raba for say, come magazine. Make out see, I mean, Timin Tonya man, who call your Bob was out Tadiano.
ba ye ni agye to say babo aban man ya te so ba pe nipa na wo man mu no omo do ma do so omo do mo aban no ene ye ne ya driver for na de bia ye nte so ensuo ya aban ye se ensuo ye nte bibia so no adawa for ya gi to ya ti bibia so ba timamman for ne do ma do say chinchina twan omo nte hwe so eti esaba ne say o man ne driver for nkwa na ebu man no enipa dodo na ye ebu man no eti on fa omo bia nte na de so no man no ntimi mu man ne say o de ba ye nkwa ye so a o man na asundwe ma isi aye come engineer ba ye come engineer ba ka ewura for so omo nte omo ukwa ka omo say ahen ka sika no ka ho nya mabo aye den nti omo nte omo ka ye 2 million na oje eti isi pressure abeda ye so na no den ye de nya de pense ye de ye pebe ka say ye nte so na ye ya na de kasa because uko ba bia obia so nte na uko kroma de ton 100 cedi no obeko 200 cedi unto a so fato on eko
me pata ma mentie wo so na wo ka bibi
omo nte senyo maso me say enu etia me koto eduro na ye 30 cedis enu etia omo di 35 cedis aren the bia yen tickets ka so the bia tickets ka so as a driver estimate for we ya ba omo ma ya ba form kra omo fi energy what that say what me go to breakthrough I first I breakthrough I na say 35 cedis aren money bani aye
omo person omo chese ya 34 prices so kakra enu nti na wo se
enya fu anu nkwa na ya de calculate no ma o enya fu anu nkwa we ya to oil we ya to breakthrough I start to break band no ma be brewa we ya den we ya to omo nya de omo nte so oh no ma be brewa omo nte so it case kan dia ye nte so na ye nte so china
according to station master no we printing new first ne dia bremo enu nti na wo say take effect immediately so print ba
first ni je enya adwuma fair ne pa de enya adwuma because mo te fair so I say ka wura kura no ono ntini se so say na wagina na oyeden and oda so yeden eji etie na be den I na be affect yen it case kan dey yen te so china what I say ono no.
All right, so they are saying that they are not going to reduce the fares for as long as fuel prices hasn't come down drastically. They are saying that government must ensure that some of the items or the materials they use in their daily activities must come down before they also agree to reduce the prices of their fares. So let me still engage them. Now also until first so.
Fair idea, yante sumani nye because ana engine TD engine 170 million adai. TD engine 170 million and I told Okono 5 city kura ultimi nime.
But omo person much say no fuel prices are from it's in our say at least mutimi consider 10% no say 50% na ka wose mu yi free so
that be enye ye free so enye ye they say yes ya wayire ombo na ba ba tete so na ye twi obi kan e be da na omo so atiti sesi no so oh ye twi obi kan no omo so omo titi sesi no so because kaka obekasa fu enoma boa ya den oga ka obekasa enoma boa ya den de bentina case kan kwa na say e timi tete so and they say why you are 22.3 are 2.3 why you are what koba nani 3 years yam koba 7 million are ade bi wo ha mo ya enye fe anytime bi anamo ma ya tuo ma ne ho tiri ye ne ho tiri sa are oh
but obaye no only passengers na eniam to say omo complaining
abasa no na entokwa no na sa asase passengers for ne drivers for animate for na sa asase sa ebiem oh
let me speak to this man also and find out from him pato we ye penyi wa hanum say said ye o mrante na ka no ebi musi omo better so ebi musi omo nte so but omo musi omo nte so no do so pa odwen ho say my ready say from eneko no mo betete so
that's it ye wo mu ne say problem no ya na efiri soro ho na eba ya eti so a na ya tumu no enka minister transport minister GPRTU protoa concern inter unions no does bebre eso mo ni ye di kuta ho ni mpanfo no di kuta ho a ye ne nkola na be kasa na bibia ye pepepe ni nyina timi akope na se kuro ba ko kasa ya teso ba ko se ya teso a say eye easy sa first of all transport aduma already transporter nyema bebre na keka bomu a obetimi ara na transport e bit set time oil brave food and spare parts akeka no as I say woman nyina timi boa eboa ban no woman nyina timi boa ban no na aban no etiso a na omo so atiso ye nyina atiso sesi ya make say tai de na ye to no 2.5 sesi e ko 5 million use one o home use a obi use no 5 million nti say what fuel so ene 34% and our free letter so ochina and ochina chi ye nim de besi fuel no nko a o betimi asa atum enti de na me kan say woni ye nyina bom esusu ho dwene ho ansa na mo ka say ye nte so na wo kan radio so say ya te so obi ate so 10% I mean do awani a ono no woni ni obi ase no obe da wate ase oni ni obi amu enti ade no mpanyimfo no mo soro no omo ya omo ni yen kasa omo ni yen sinkonwa na yen kasa na mtiase anya adwuma na afeni nyina ye pe ye kasa bia ye te so a bia tek ha ya na kuma se ya yi nyina te so now tena radio so kan sa dia I said dem kra yi kan sa da beba so enti mpanyimfo no ye tu omo fo say bibi se beba omo ni kan na union mpanyimfo no nyina nhia na yen ka omo nkasa nche na yen tiase na yen so yen fa nkoma yen kwala no.
All right, so those are the sentiments from the tech station where my colleague has been interacting with drivers and some passengers there as well. You've heard them, some of them say it will be difficult for them to reduce the fares by the 10% that GPRTU and GRTCC are asking for. Let's get some perspectives from Duncan Amwa, who is Executive Secretary of COPEC. Grateful to you for joining us. I hope all is well this morning.
Very well, and good job.
Thank you, sir. Now, you've heard there, the drivers are citing other reasons why it will be difficult for them to reduce the fares by the 10% that the GPRTU and GRTCC has announced. What do you make of their concerns?
They are legitimate. They are founded or grounded. You listen to them and you get a sense that indeed it is not one person. So I say yes. This is very at this point. Although Rabies, to start with, I must just mention.
Well, Mr. Moore, we're having a difficulty in trying to hear you. I think it's because
I don't know if this will be better, but
okay.
Yes. So what I was saying is the concerns of these drivers are legitimate. You cannot dismiss them outright because all that is being raised on your network this morning is the reality. Fuel prices, if I could correct, since the last time we dropped transport fares, has declined by some 22% between December and now, when we got to some 15.3, and now we have been able to scale down to about 12.3.
Okay.
You are doing about 20-22%, depending on the OMC you deal with. So per their own standing arrangement, which says that when fuel declines or goes up by some 10 percentage points, there's supposed to be some adjustment. In the past, when it has gone up, this argument has been used by our driver union to scale up transport fares. And I have almost always had to defend them that, of course, if you look at, how much fuel will cost, how much spare parts will cost them, and you rightly heard from them, the cost of even tires have almost doubled as we speak. So the running cost for these guys will come to something quite high. And so when prices of fuel also come to add,
then it becomes a double incident of agony for them, and they need to go up on their fares. Now, whatever arrangement they had with the Transport Ministry, or they may come back to bite them at this point because, like I rightly indicated, we have done a cumulative 22% reduction from the start of the year to this point. And so if your agreement says at 10% you are going to scale down, then you don't have argument going forward not to scale down, especially when the figures and the facts out there point to the fact that we have done some cumulative 22% reduction in fuel prices over the period. The national chairman, I know at this point, will be taking a lot of hits from his own members. But the right thing must be done, and that is the more reason I said to begin, I must commend him, because you don't get this in this part of the world where prices scale up, and then through a deliberate action or program, we seek to bring prices down. His members will not be happy. The driver unions, some of them would definitely kick against this. The pushback will be very strong. But the truth of the matter is that the chairman and his general secretary and the other leadership of the union seem to have done just the right thing. If we succeed in getting the fares to come down, what the complaints of the drivers are, they could be surprised that there will be a cascading effect also on the cost of food, the cost of, spare parts and used items. If you are making mobility or people to be able to move around a bit easier, and they realize that, look, I was paying 5 cedis, now I'm paying 4 cedis something. There's some relief somewhere. Okay, I have cassava. I used to sell 3 for 10 cedis. Maybe I can do 5 of it for 10 cedis. You realize that overall, within a certain time period, it might not be today, it might not be this week, but within a certain time period, there will be a certain cooling off effect that the economy itself will record for all of us. So maybe the drivers have a complaint today, germane, legitimate and all, but if the change that they seek, I heard somebody talk about cost of drugs, cost of food, everything. If you are charging so high to transport or move these items and people across, the place, then expect that when you go to the woman selling kinky, she would also say, look, there was 2 cedis. I can't do the 2 cedis anymore because my running are so high, I would need to go up. But the change the drivers are seeing would need to start with them, and it's probably unfortunate that some of them think, people are just looking to, as it were, always, put pressure on them.
Okay.
We don't regard them as much. It cannot be true. If there's any union in this country that has been at the front of, championing the concerns of their members, it's been the GPRTU and other driver unions. And I think that this is the right call that the national leadership has made. Unfortunately, the pushback is expected. It will come.
Okay. I'll come back to you again, but let me bring in the chairman of Transport Committee of Parliament, Kennedy Osei Nyako, Honorable. Grateful that you could join us here. Now, this issue of, convenience. When fuel prices increase about 10%, drivers want an increment in transport fares. Well, when there's a reduction, here they are citing the issue of cost of spare parts and other issues. Duncan Amwa has made us understand that these are issues that you cannot push away. But how do we deal with this going forward to ensure that really when there is a reduction in fuel price of up to 10%, there will be a commensurate reduction in transport fares, and not have drivers tell us that increment in spare parts and what have you is also the reason why we are not able to reduce?
Okay, so thank you very much for having me on your show this morning. Yes, it's a pleasure and honor to speak to your cherished listeners. Yes, as we speak now, we don't have anything like an automatic pricing policy for this commercial vehicle owners, or let's say a system that determines anytime there is any change in any of the variables, maybe automatically it go into the system and automatically fix the prices of transport in this country. We don't have it. And that is one thing which is making it very difficult for both government and everybody for us to be able to determine as to how much in terms of percentage and at when prices of, let's say, or fares or vehicle fares are to go up. So that is the most challenging aspect of it. I know the Ministry of Transport is doing everything possible for us to have, many have made that proposal that we should have a system that automatically, anytime whether there is an increase or reduction in any of the variables, then automatically we put that in the formula and it calculates and it determines the prices so that there will not be any brouhaha about how much drivers should increase their or vehicle owners should increase their fares and how much. And so that is where we are, and I'm glad that gradually we are inching into that. That one day we will have that kind of system in place where this issue of people disagreeing about why the price was increased to this level. But now that we don't have it, definitely we will be encountering some of these issues, contentions about why when fuel prices is at this level, you people decide to increase your fare at this level. I am happy that for now, the global economy seems to be, picking up, stabilizing after several years of global supply and distribution chain disruption, which has affected distribution channels, which even cost of distribution very expensive. It is not the item itself that has become more expensive, but the cost of distribution has become so expensive, which has translated or added into the price of the final determination of pricing of commodities, and it has become so unbearable for consumers to even be able to afford it. But I'm happy it has started for the past 3 months. It has if you see the curve, it has started declining, coming down gradually. We started the year with an inflation of 53.6%. Gradually, after April, it has come to 41.2%. So it is tilting down. It is going. If you look globally, you see the same thing. Crude oil prices on the world market is also declining gradually. But we cannot do a quantum leap or jump that low because prices of crude oil have come down. So poor prices, the next morning when we wake up, the price should drop by 2 cedis or 3 cedis. It cannot happen because when it was going up, it didn't go 2 cedis and 1 cedi. It went gradually, but it was in the fast stage because of how the global economy and even the strength of our cedi was at that time. So I am happy that things are coming down gradually. We might not immediately see the effect because it will not translate to, let's say, into some kind of relief immediately to the ordinary person. But gradually it will translate. But our advice and our plea to both our market women or the traders in the market, the difficulty and the problem or what I've seen as a Ghanaian in this country is that when prices goes up, it hardly comes down. Even if the price of crude oil maybe in 2 months ago was, let's say, a barrel was $100 and now it has come to $50. You will see that market woman or that trader selling a tomato for maybe 10 cedis at that time, still keeping that thing at 10 cedis. That is the most difficult aspect. That so sometimes we have to appeal to them. Morally, they know. And we appeal to their conscience because if things are coming down and we don't want to also reciprocate so that the ordinary Ghanaian also have kind of relief, then it becomes difficult. Then even irrespective of what government will do, all policies that we put down to make sure that it brings that kind of reduces the hardship of the ordinary Ghanaian, it will not bear fruit. We will not see you will not see it, because at the end of the day, those people who are supposed to help for us to do those things now will take advantage of it and will be making millions of profit at the expense of. So that is my fear, that all this decline that we have seen, if we are not careful, we will see the decline, but it will not translate into reducing the hardship of the ordinary, the standard of living of the ordinary person, because those people who are in charge selling those items will use the opportunity to make millions at the expense of the ordinary person without reducing the goods and services. But we have all seen today, transport fares have been reduced by 10%. Fuel prices are coming down. I'm told this May, the next window, the fuel prices will come down. So consistently, since January or from, it has been coming down. And if drivers are reducing their fares by 10%, it should also go to the market women. So those things that they were selling for, let's say, 10 cedis, if they cannot even go beyond the 10%, because the transport people or the vehicle owners, before they came out with the 10%, they have also looked at the prices of other items that makes up maintaining of their vehicle. But
that presents an opportunity, isn't it? That we know what the challenge is. That when there is a reduction, it's difficult for things to also come down. What are we then doing to ensure that we cure this?
So me, I have always maintained that government, though we are practicing a free market economy, there should be a bit of control in the free market economy. You cannot liberalize the economy in the developing country that has a liberalized economy. It's difficult for that economy to grow. And a economy like Ghana, we are not a developed country. We can afford to liberalize our market to the extent that everybody can do everything that the person likes. No, that is the difficulty. So government should be able to have a bit of control of determining certain things. Okay? So if, let's say, an olonka of Gary is 4 cedis, and the measure of that Gary, the olonka is, let's say, 1 kg. It should be, and it is 5 cedis, it should be 5 cedis throughout the country. Nobody can sell it. Nobody can sit at, let's say, Okansi and sell olonka of Ogari for 15 cedis, and somebody sitting at, let's say, somewhere in Ohoy and Abidome and sell it from, let's say, 5 cedis. That is the problem that we have in the country. If tomato, maybe you go to market and maybe 4 of it, they give 4 of the tomato for, let's say, 2 cedis. In Accra here, we should have a standard. It should be across. But here, there's nothing like standardization in the pricing of our items. Everybody, the same item that they are selling, if the same area, if you are in the country, you can move to one store. One person will sell it for you 15 cedis. Other place is 20 cedis. Other place is 30 cedis. In the same area. So there is no standardization in this price, and it does not help the country. That is why any time you see these foreign companies like the Nigerians and the Chinese, when they come, then our good people are crying. They are not willing to reduce their prices and make little profit by sell more. But when these foreigners come in, they think that it is better for them to sell 1,000 pieces of an item and make 50 pesos or 1 cedi profit each on it, than to sell just 10 of them and increase and make 100% on it. And that is the problem. That is the attitude and the character of most of our Ghanaian entrepreneurs or traders in this country. Prefer selling few and making huge profit than selling more. That principle does not work in such a liberalized economy.
But isn't this something Parliament, which you belong, can do something about?
You see, policies are initiated, Parliament are making law. Policies are initiated by the executive. When it comes to Parliament, Parliament can propose a policy. But it is the executive that ensures the implementation of the policy. So, if you make the proposal to government, And government say that I'm not interested in that proposal. And government has its own plan of doing things on its own. It becomes so difficult. So I think it's fair to see that when we have gotten to, we cannot allow this liberalized market to go on because it is not benefiting anybody. That is how come you see this all foreign companies rush in and come settle here and make huge profit at the expense of our local people. Because when they come, I have to be honest with you. Those foreign companies, when they are coming, they have cheaper lending rates and they come. Okay, here the person might not have to compete on maybe a high interest rate to set up. The person comes, yes, it's not through fault of his. He has gotten a cheaper, he has come, but he's selling his goods at a rate that everybody can afford. Okay, so if we also want to control, then we have to have some kind of standardized system in place. That this item A, B, C, D. Why should I go and buy? I go to pharmacy and I want to go and buy Coartem. And I go to one pharmacy at Oshi and they sell the Coartem for me for 10. I go to my constituency at Kingswell Group and I buy the same Coartem for, let's say, 20 cedis. Why should it be so? Why? Why should it be so? And that is the problem that we have in this country. And that is what we need to come together, because it is not the problem of the government of the day alone. It is the problem of the country. And all of us must we have to be playing our role in ensuring that we also do our little contribution or support or play our part to make the entire society a very good one for everybody to live in. Well, we want to push everything to government and look government alone to be pushing it. Look at when government decided to say that, we were introducing that 50% benchmark values on items. That all our importers were happy. Since that teacher too, maybe they would have paid duties on it, let's say 100 cedis. They were paying 50 cedis. But ask yourself, at the time that they were paying 50 cedis, they never reduced the items, they never reduced the prices of the items and market. So they were enjoying from government policy, getting reduced duties, but when they come to it, they were making huge profit by transferring or keeping the prices on the same level for those persons. Then you see the other person now will turn back and be blaming government. Once government has got a policy, that should have translated the other person within the chain of the supply. Somebody said that this is the opportunity for me to make billions of Ghana cedi profit. So we stand in, intercept it, and make the million. Because government cannot directly go and be selling those items to the ordinary person. You have to go through the players within the value chain, or the players in the market. And these are the people who are also not doing it. Today, government says that after several years of introducing this 50% benchmark value, the people, the citizens, the ordinary people, they were still crying that things were hard. So then it means the policy did not benefit them, and therefore I'm going back to the 100%. These importers, the goods, complaining, and things have become expensive, the duty. But when you have the opportunity that you should have translated it to the ordinary Ghanaian who doesn't have much, that comes to the market to buy. You were making total. That is the situation. That's why I'm saying that it's a moral issue. The fact that government is also putting measures in place, ensuring that it brings into relief and relieve the hardship of the Ghanaian people.
Okay.
There are moral issues, which is a very key. The moral issue in this matter is very key. So everybody, all traders, the market women, morally, they should sit down soberly and reflect that if things are going down, then they have to consider also reducing their things for the ordinary person to also benefit from it. And that is how we run society.
Okay. All right. Let me bring in Duncan Amo again. Duncan, so from the industry perspective, how can we deal with this issue of, fuel prices will go down, would want a commensurate reduction in transport fares, but we won't get it, or we'll have difficulties in doing it?
Member of Parliament, didn't say when you asked what could be done to save the situation. When you the petroleum situation of
Duncan, I guess you have to reposition yourself a bit for us. So
okay, so what I was saying is this. What I don't know if it is any better now.
Yeah, it's better now, yes.
Okay, so what I was saying is this. You asked a critical question of the honorable member and for that matter, chairman of Transport Committee, what could be done. And I was hoping that he would avert his mind to the need to put in proper structures so that transportation costs are not in dispute. They may not have to be in dispute because, like I said, in the petroleum sector, there's a very efficient way of determining the cost per liter per kilometer, where you input your input cost or the operational expense and investment cost, and then you look at how long it is going to take to be able to recoup that kind of investment and operational expenses based on the number of liters one is carrying at a time. And so it is a lot easier to determine the cost per liter per kilometer. Why are we unable to, up to this point, put in a certain efficient mechanism that allows us to determine the cost per kilometer per head for public transportation systems? If I'm doing 100-kilometer distance, I'm doing 200-kilometer distance, and the cost per kilometer per head, based on the variables that are used in computing transport fares, is supposed to be, let's say, 1 cedi per kilometer. We don't have to be in dispute at all whether fuel prices go up or it comes down. Once you input the fuel price, bit into that computation, it gives you a figure. We have proposed this to the Transport Ministry over and over and over again, that until we move to a more scientific way of handling this whole public sector transport, discourse, we will come back to the same confusion over and over. In the past, the practice has been that, okay, fuel prices have gone up. Operators say we want 20% increase. Transport Ministry says, come and let's sit and negotiate. What are we negotiating for? You see, the challenge therein, again, even for investment in the transport sector, is that if I were to put in, let's say, 500,000 Ghana cedis today to be able to get a bus that now will be able to move people from one point to the other, that investment I put in, if the returns do not add up, you know what will happen? I will no longer be interested in putting in that investment. Then the buses you have will get older and older. Then they will increase the attrition rate or the rate of accidents happening on your roads because they cannot maintain these cars, they cannot service them. And would jeopardize the lives of people. I think we should get to a very healthy point where the public now come to appreciate that, look, the cost for moving a kilometer, if you are moving from Adenta to, let's say, Circle, and it's a 30-kilometer radius or distance, this is how much it is likely to cost you. If the public come to appreciate this, that whole confusion, that whole misadventure, where we now have to sit and negotiate, renegotiate, argue, agree, disagree, and all of that, I think we should be able to put that behind us. But this system, where if it goes down, the operators are not willing to go down because, like you spoke to some drivers, the other cost variables for their operations have gone up. They are not lying. It is the truth. But the truth again is that fuel prices has also gone down 22% over the period. So something ought to be given. Is what's being given scientific enough so that everybody comes to the table to appreciate that this is where we were, this is where we are now, and this is what we are supposed to be getting to. Then there's no confusion at all. I think we may need to move to a more scientific, way of determining how much we are actually charging our people per kilometer in order to be able to move them around.
Interesting. So, in terms of looking for solutions, where must we be looking out for those solutions?
Well, I think that if some reference or deference could be made to, like I indicated, the fuel haulage sector, who are able to determine the cost per liter for moving their products one point to the other. We should be able to do the same for, human cargo or human, passengers aboard. There's a more scientific computation that is done. I can probably share all of that with you. That we are aware, if was adopted in the public transport space, we'll probably be able to make a final determination of what it will cost to move somebody from 1 kilometer. They input such cost as the cost of, changing tires. If the tire is supposed to do about 2,000 kilometers or 10,000 before you probably think of, replacement, then you are depreciating the tire, you are depreciating everything in that transport cost build-up. By that, they are able to maintain. That's how come when you get to the oil sector, the trucks there are almost new, quite new. You might find a few older ones, but generally, people are willing to invest. You recall some time ago, the major banks in Ghana, ADB, EcoBank and others, invested heavily into the public transport space, right? They bought these minibuses, paid for the buses, the long-distance buses.
Yeah.
Eventually, it went as bad business. So they could not continue the program. What happens then? You will find trotros that are probably 20, 30, 40 years on our roads, still ferrying people or carrying people from one point to the other. Clearly, we are not taking care of that public transport space at all. And so people are not willing to put in any investment. Even the banks are running away. How much more individuals you put in money, the accountability process or the recouping process becomes problematic because today transport fares are going down. The car owners are not probably looking to go down on their revenue expectations or income expectations. So they are still going to hold the drivers to the same old sales that they brought them yesterday. And then you have a situation where the guy at Abotokai does not even appreciate that things have gone down. So, okay, I can go down by some 5 or 10%. They won't do anything. We are bottling a lot of things together. I think we can move to a more progressive scientific basis. And I have cited the petroleum haulage, space that is able to do these things more scientifically.
If I understand you, that won't mean cheaper transportation fares, right?
You see, it doesn't even have to mean cheap, especially for most of our commuters. If you told them, look, if I gave you, some of these very new, nice buses, let's say from Medina to Circle, right? Some of which can even come with air conditioners and all. If it is 4 cities and you have to pay 6 cities, I'm sure most people would say, okay, we can manage. Because it's value for money, right? But this is where the car picking you up is slanted one way or the other. You don't know whether you even get to the next kilometer. You don't know. So anytime you ask them to pay more, it becomes a chicken and egg. Should I pay so that you get to, maintain the car, or you should go and maintain your car so I pay? I think that if we get to a more realistic revenue, expectation, the businessmen across the country will be more willing to throw in some investments, especially to the public transport space, where the fleet of vehicles that are so old, that are quite precarious to people's, dangerous to our roads, we can probably be able to phase them out within a very short period. But where it stands now, it doesn't get encouraging. If you speak to people who invest in the transport space, it doesn't look as though they will be willing to put in so much to bring in brand new vehicles where the recouping or revenue returns are not even assured.
Interesting.
Not good enough.
Well, let me bring in Honorable Kennedy Osei-Nyako again. So earlier you were saying that when it comes to what we call automatic adjustment, we are so close in terms of how prices of transport fares will reflect the price of petroleum. How close are we?
In the past, these are individuals who own their car, okay? And they believe that it is not only the fuel that is a determinant in their pricing, politics. There are other things. So it is not only when prices of fuel come down, then they will quickly go and just reduce the prices of their fares. They consider so many things. I think there are about 6 or 7 items that they consider before they come out whether to reduce the price of their fares or increase it. So it is something that I am happy that Duncan is also with me when I said we need to get to a point that we have a scientific system that will automatically, anytime there's some kind of increase, whether in fuel price or prices of spare parts, they can input it into the system and it will determine the prices of the item. Gradually, we are getting there. As we speak now, before, there was no control. As commercial vehicles, they were not under the commercial vehicles operated. They were not under any, I don't know, any agency or anything. Now we are past the National Road Safety Authority Act. National Road Safety Authority Act. Now, under the Act, the Road Safety Authority are mandated to regulate, because like we have the Ghana Civil Aviation that regulates air transportation, and we have, let's say, Maritime Authority also regulating the maritime industry. Now, Ghana Road Safety Authority have been mandated to regulate the commercial transport industry. So they are coming to put so many measures. It will get to a point, even if you are a commercial driver operator and you don't have a license, you have not been licensed by the National Road Safety Authority, you cannot operate. It will get to a time that individuals that just have, they only buy one car, then they will start operating themselves. It will get to a time, the law that you have had, they will not allow. It means they will rather encourage individuals to put their fleet together to form a company and run it. We want to bring sanity into the industry. In the past, there hasn't been any sanity. Everybody was doing whatever they want. They just buy, you get money today, tomorrow you bought a car, you want to register, then you started loading, then you start moving around and all those things. With this act and the regulation being passed in the last meeting that we went in Parliament, now the Road Safety Authority has the power to penalize and regulate the sector, the industry, the commercial transport industry. So that is a good step that we have taken. And I believe once we put this system in place, it now normalizes operation in the industry to even give way for policy, let's say, makers to also fine-tune the policy in the industry and make sure things are done. If you compare what is happening here in Ghana to other places, I listen to my colleague Duncan that makes a reference to government not being able to fully utilize those buses like Metro Miles and other government buses available for the ordinary person to use it. But they are there. But you look at how it's so when you go to just Abidjan here. I've been in Abidjan here. When you go, trottoirs are not even allowed to come to the city. The trottoirs are in the hinterland. You cannot operate any trottoir. It is only the bus. So everybody, buses and taxis. So everybody, if you don't take a taxi, you are forced to join a bus. The bus will be that of a government or it will be that of a private company. And it is being regulated properly. And here in the case, even the government one, it has been overshadowed by individual private or individual commercial vehicles in town. So even government can bring all the fleet, but they will not get the needed patronage. Even if they get the needed patronage, because the system is so choked, there's so much choke with this private vehicle crossing everywhere, it becomes so difficult for them to even get a patronage. Because if I'm going to Atomota and I see a small car, I can join and within 5 minutes or 10 minutes, it will be full and I'll go. Why would I go and sit at, let's say, Metro Max yard that I'm taking a bus that will carry about 50 or let's say 60 people or even 45 people? I should go and wait. maybe 30 minutes before I join. So these are some of the issues. Until we address all these bottlenecks in the industry, making sure that we put a proper policy, like the Ivory Coast, the Ivory Coast government, they've done in Ivory Coast. That what should have a point they can load. You cannot enter the capital, the major regional capital. So they will tell you, okay, if you are coming from Kumasi, your termination point will be maybe, let's say, in Tawam. That's where the crossroad is. From Accra to every part, if you are within Accra to every part of Accra within, these are big buses or shuttles that will be operating. Then we take all this away. But because of politics, everybody is afraid. Tomorrow, you go and catch these commercial drivers that will not allow you, all commercial, all trucks are being moved away from Accra. You cannot operate here. You see what the heat that will come in this and the threat from these people, the owners of these vehicles. They will turn into politics, but they are not looking at the beautiful part of it. They are not looking at how it will make even the city beautiful, how it will make the industry sanitized and the patronage by government. So that is the only way that will encourage even banks that, oh, let's give government money. Because now, in Accra here, the buses, even if you bring thousands of them, they can operate. They can go everywhere. We get our money back. I think the system is choked and operated haphazardly like it is done now. No bank will put money for government to go and buy, and you will not be getting the patronage and these small vehicles on traffic will take over all the places. But going forward, we need to be bold in taking certain policies. I don't think when you travel outside, I'm sure you might have traveled, and when you go to other Western countries, you see trucks everywhere. You don't see, if you want to travel, go beyond a certain point, you take either big bags and go if you are going from Awe. You take a car. Why can't you adopt that same system? It's those people who have been, the government for now doesn't have that models to help people to acquire this big bags. I mean, we should find a way of regulating the system and making this truck people operate at a certain point so that they will leave the capital cities nicely for the bigger ones to operate, and there will be sanity and control.
But how will this bring about the fair pricing in transport fares such that both commuters and drivers will be happy about the state at which they will be?
If government thinks that, as we speak now, Metro Mass, the one that they load around, the fares are cheaper than any other operators, commercial transport operator in this country. They don't charge as high as the other private commercial drivers are charging. Metro Mass doesn't charge that way. Okay? Their fares are a little bit cheaper, subsidized. So if we don't have the system choke, and that brings more of this battle. There are no much traffic on the route, crisscrossing by truck roads, and they can come and load easily and get people and go and come, and we are sure of getting more patronage. They can afford to reduce the prices even better, because the more patronage, the more passengers that you get, you can afford to, cut down prices of, your fares, cut down your fares for people to patronize. But like you are saying, the determination of the fares, they put certain variables, about 7 of them, to do that determination. Until that determination, we are also able to arrest major of them. And the major of them is the prices of crude oil, is the prices of spare parts. When duties go up at the port, definitely when they come to sell the spare parts will also be expensive. And if the driver go and buy an expensive spare part and put on the car, definitely when he has the opportunity to increase the fare, he will also push that increase into the fare. So the fact that fuel prices are coming down, if other variables don't also come down, if I go to station and the bookman before, I was paying 5 cedis. If now bookman is taking 50 cedis for me,
and I had the opportunity to increase the fare, I will add all those costs. But if, for now, price of fuel has come down, and the bookman says that, oh, me too, I've reduced my bookman fee from the 50 to maybe 40 cedis. The driver will say, okay, I've gotten some reduction. So I will also input it into, I will add it to the determination so that the price will also come down. So these are various factors. And who controls it? Because there's nobody that regulates in the industry. Things were done by themselves. The commercial drivers, government on its part, has had the opportunity to sit in several meetings to discuss this matter. That's, commercial drivers. It's not easy for government to, for how long they will prepare on. Well, you see, you prepare on some, and some they will not agree because there are several of them putting themselves together. Okay, so it becomes so difficult for government. It is time for us to sanitize and regulate the industry, and I'm happy. The National Road Safety Authority, with the power that has been given to them now, stands the distance to do that, and they cannot fail the country. They have to do it, irrespective of how people will see them and talk about it. They have to.
When is this law expected to come into force?
We have passed everything. We passed the regulation matured, even the regulation to operationalize the act was laid in our last meeting, and it matured after 21 days. So the law is in their bosom now. They have to do it. It's in their hands.
Okay.
They don't need a name. It has been passed already.
Okay.
It has been passed already.
You mentioned that, you agree that the cost of spare parts is also why drivers find it difficult to reduce their fares. Isn't that why, when it came to the 3 new tax bills, Parliament should have hesitated a bit?
Which of the 3 new tax bills that you are talking about?
The one that they were new imposition of taxes on duties at the port, which the drivers are referring to as to why spare parts have increased.
I have to know, because you have to be specific on the bill you are talking about. The bill, the specific tax that you are mentioning, you have to be specific. So that if I have to respond, I can also respond equally.
But these are the recent new tax bills that you passed, the 3. One of them was going into increasing the duties at the port. And the spare part dealers are referring to that.
Duties of what? Because I know a law, a bill, we amended the Import Duty Act, the Excise Duty Act, to make sure we increase the ban on duties on, let's say, cigarettes, e-cigarettes, tobaccos, and alcohols, and all those things. I don't see anything wrong increasing the prices of alcohol and cigarettes. These are morally corrupt products, which does not help the society. If you go everywhere around the globe, that is how they've done it. They don't do it. It's not because of the duty that they are looking for. They are making it so expensive for people to patronize it, so that they will stop. Because when people smoke, when people drink excessively, and they become sick, ill, it becomes a problem for the state. The state has to find all means money to be able to take care of a sick society. And the cost of maintaining or taking care of a sick person in the society is very expensive. So if we have any measure to put in place to mitigate or to stop or minimize it, you have to. And I'm happy that particular law, I think the government, it took the government that long to bring it. We have to regulate it, like soda. Why do you want to make soda so cheap? People go and buy Fanta and all those things and drink and become obese, develop diabetes, and everywhere when you go to our major hospital, people are sick there. Every time. We need to, we are buying, government is spending, have to buy more beds, buy more medication. They also recruit more staff to be there because to manage these people. So you don't wait to get to that level. Some countries have gotten to that level, and it became so problematic for them. So once we have an example that we can, or we have something that we can look at, we can benchmark, then we don't have to get to that. So that particular one, I don't see the other ones like the stabilization, the profit, and the gain, whatever. Already with some stabilization fund that was there. That we amended the act. It's not a new tax. It's an old one. So all the things that we got, most of them were old ones that we just amended it to increase the ban to make it so. Well, that is how government is. Right. We need to go. I am not part of the executive. I'm just a lawmaker. They brought it, they gave explanatory memoranda telling Parliament or explaining to Parliament why it wants to take this seat, which every member read it, and we were convinced, and the thing has been passed. So that is where we've gotten to. If at a point in time, government thinks that, oh, this bill or this law or this taxes have served its purpose and it's happy, it has control, so we need to remove the law. We need to remove the tax. I'm sure it will be done. But as we stand now, government believes that if policy direction, we think that is how it wants to do. And the thing has been passed. There's nothing we can do about it immediately.
Okay. So being the chairman for the Roads and Transport Committee, and with the recent agitation about transport fares, and then the passage of the law giving the Road Safety Authority the mandate to regulate the transport sector, what are you going to do from now on to ensure that this new law has been kicked into effect to ensure that we're able to regulate the transport sector such that we won't have these back and forth when it comes to transport fares and petroleum price reduction and increment?
Okay, so what we are going to do is immediately when we resume, I think we will have a meeting with the National Road Safety Authority and the ministry, because it was the regulation that they were waiting for it to pass, and it matured. So now they have the way for them to pay. So we want to invite them to have a meeting to find out from them how they intend to start the entire operation, and they have to explain the entire workings to us so that we also follow and be monitoring periodically. We'll be reviewing the activities to see how maybe the things are going. So that is what we are going to immediately when we do. We will arrange for a meeting with them so that we know the preparation and what they have done so far. We'll take it from there. And once we meet them, we meet them sometimes, media budget, performance review. We meet them, we look at it. At the end of the year, in November, when we are doing the estimates, we have the opportunity to meet them, we look at it. So at any point in time, there is any cause for us to invite them to come and explain certain things to us, for us to appreciate what is happening in the commercial transport industry. We will do it. We will not hesitate. We will just go ahead and do it and just ensure that things are done according to the law that have been passed.
Okay. Let me bring in Duncan. Duncan, so you've been listening to the chairman for the Roads and Transport Committee talking about this new legislation that is giving the Road Safety Authority the chance to regulate the transport sector. He believes this could help us solve the issue about transport fares brouhaha. What do you make of it after listening to him? Do you think it is one of the surest bet in helping us deal with this canker?
Well, I do think that the honorable member has done justice to this one, and like he rightly said, that act should empower the NSRA to do a much holistic job. How soon that will be done, I'm sure we'll continue to watch the space, but until we get to a point where the public is able to at least get to a certain understanding that transportation systems will have to be paid for, and people are willing to pay for the right fare in order that they get the right kind of service, we will continue to go back and forth. For us, the key issue would have to be safety on our roads overall, because at the end of the day, if because of cutting corners, we end up with very bad vehicles that have poor service and maintenance, record, because The operators themselves are unable to recoup anything at the end of the day, and they have to just do that to survive or get by. We are simply killing ourselves, and at the end of the day, it's the very people that would have to pay for all of this. I think that some progress would need to be made, and whether the act will lead to that progress or not, the days ahead will determine.
So, price standardization is one of the things we need to look at in curtailing these sort of, issues we do get when it comes to increment or reduction in transport fares, right? Just to wrap up.
Well, I do not see how we'll probably be able to pass another layer of tax and call it stabilization for transport. What I think needs to be done.
No. It's not about taxes anyway, but trying to standardize how pricing is done in the transport sector. Is that something that could help us out of the current issue in terms of transport fares?
Brace, the truth is this. If you had a standardized, pricing, and I have an investment, you have an investment, right, that you could put into a certain type of vehicle as prescribed by the Road Safety Act, that doesn't come in dangerous to both passengers and the public. And then I can put in that investment knowing that if I were to put in, let's say, 500,000 and I'm to recoup 400 Ghana cedis or 1,000 Ghana cedis daily, if you do a spreadsheet, right, you will be able to determine if all things are equal. In 2-3 years, I should be able to recoup. If the vehicle is strong enough to do additional 2 years, that will be return on investment. I am sure, like I did indicate earlier, within a period, we might be able to change the very old fleet. We might be able to have a fleet that has proper service and maintenance culture, that doesn't allow drivers to just jump onto the road knowing the tires are worn out, the brake pads are not, good enough. But because they need to just go out there and look for no coffee, they jump onto the road and pose a danger to everybody else using the road. Until we get to that point where things are done using the right systems, the right scientific method, this hula baloo, the brouhaha, we will pay, we won't pay, we will increase, we won't increase, we would reduce. A section they won't reduce because they are citing other costs that have gone up. I'm sure the confusion will continue, Brace.
So grateful to you, Duncan Amor, for joining us this morning, and to the Chairman for Road and Transport Committee of Parliament. We're grateful as well for joining us. This is still the AM show on Joy News. Let me say hi to our friends at Ghana Gas who are watching us at this moment. Chairman Kwachi, I'm told you are watching us. Odifo Nkansa and my own man Asase. All of you of Ghana Gas, you are in Atuabo watching us at this moment. Thanks. And guys, kudos for the great work you do for this country. Well, we'll take a quick break. When we return, we'll take you up north where we understand the Vice President is making a visit there in Wa. He's making an official visit in Wa this morning. But as part of his visit, he's expected to inspect ongoing works at the BK Adama Multipurpose Youth Resource Center, where Joy News Upper-West Regional Correspondent Rafi Salam will be joining us from. So stay with us. We'll bring you much more on this after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back from the break. Now, we will shortly be sharing your thoughts with our audience. So kindly leave your thoughts on our Facebook page, and then we'll share that with the rest of our viewers around the world. But you know what? The Vice President, we understand this morning, is in Wa for a day's official working visit As part of this visit, he is expected to inspect ongoing works at the BK Adama Multipurpose Youth Resource Center, where my colleague Rafiq Salam is joining us from. Rafiq, so how are things running where you are?
To inspect ongoing works at this particular project site. The project is in 2 phases. The first phase of the project is 100% complete. It's left with the second phase, I'm told, by the consultants of the project that is 98% are complete. And so the Vice President in the next 15 minutes is expected to be at the BK Adama Multi-Resource Youth Resource Center. But ahead of that, when he flew into town, he went straight to the palace of the overlord of the Wala traditional area, now for City people, the Pope. Currently, he's having a private meeting with the Wala overlord. And so that meeting is not open to the public. And then after that, he will roll out of the Wana's palace and head straight to the Multi-Purpose Youth Resource Center. Currently, that's what's really happening. We are here waiting with bated breath for the arrival of the Vice President, Dr. Alhaji Mahamudu Bawumia. We're also told that after that, he's expected to meet some senior members of the party, and we are not privy to the kind of people that he will be meeting right here. But that is the itinerary for you on the Vice President visit to the Upper West region. It's supposed to be a whistle stop, and after that, he will head out.
Edifice behind you. Can you let us and our audience have a feel of the resource center? It's where you are. Let's really understand what are this particular resource center you're talking about.
This is a part of the youth resource centers that have been that contract has been given out by government for the construction of these sites. It used to be 10. And then we are told that government wants to roll it up to about 16. But currently where I am, this is the first phase of the project, which I am told is 100% complete. You can see the chairs, you can see currently just behind me is a VIP of the Multi-Youth Resource Center. And also the only thing left on the first phase of the project is to put the tartan tracks. You can see that there are still a lot of shipments around. And so this is the kind of place that the Vice President is coming to do inspection. Ever since that the start of this project, the Vice President has not been able to be here. It's only his boss, President Nana Akufo-Addo Dankwa, who has been here, I think, a couple of occasions to inspect the project. But now this is the first time that the Vice President is coming here, and then you can see things for yourself that things are really up to scratch right here at the BK Adama Multi-Purpose Youth Resource Center. The food is ready. You can see the dancers are very trim, very nice right here in Wa. And this youth resource center is located around the northern belt of the Wa municipality on your way to Kumu. And so it's a beautiful edifice. And then the Vice President also wants to have a bite of the pie, do inspection on this project, and so that it will be a project that is it's a turnkey project. And that will be delivered to the people of the Wa municipality and the Upper West region at large.
Okay, Rafiq, grateful that you've given us, a feel of that particular resource center. We are not there, but through your lenses, we've been able to feel how or the state of progress of this particular project. Keep monitoring the progress of the tour of the Vice President to Wa so that we can update our listeners and our viewers as well with what will be happening. So that's it there from Rafiq Salam, grateful to you. Now, it's Wednesday. Ketsi EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank. We're coming your way with the AM Business. Now, today we check out how a drop in inflation is affecting food prices in your area.
With inflation dropping from 45% in March to 41.2% in April, today we are here in the Malata market to gauge the prices of goods. We are here speaking to Ma here. Ma, we want to understand how much was this a few weeks ago and how much do you sell it now?
A few weeks ago it was 35 cedis.
but now it's 33 cedis.
You have reduced the price. What made you
reduce the price? Because I take it around 540 per gallon, the 25 liters, but now it's getting down to about 500 per gallon. Yes, so because the market is not flowing, the things are expensive. Anytime I go and the things comes down, the price comes down. When I get here, I also bring it down so that the market will flow.
So your cost when you are trying to acquire these gallons of oil for selling, don't you factor in transportation or you just?
I do. Sometimes I go to Okanshi to buy it myself. Sometimes too, I have customers who bring it to me. At least every week they bring me about 40 gallons. Every week, 40 gallons of the 25 liters. Every week I get that. So sometimes when I go in at Okanshi myself, I consider the prices go up a little. But when I'm here and they bring it, then I drop it a little. I drop the price a little.
What has customer reactions been like? Are people happy that you've made these reductions in prices?
Yes, the buyers, my customers are sometimes happy, but my colleagues, some of my colleagues are against it that I'm spoiling the market. But I always explain to them that I don't have the physical cash to take the gallons. So when they bring it, maybe 40 gallons per week, they expect me to pay them at the end of the week. And if I don't bring down the cost so that it moves fast, I'll be hot. So I explain to them that because the customers, some of them go to Makola and they hear the prices are coming down. That's why I also bring mine down. It went high. It went very high some time ago. But now that it's dropping, they should work out so that the inflation will come down, so that it will come down and we can sell it lesser. So that everybody, there are a lot of women who want to engage in business, but they don't have the capital. But when it comes down and they have some small amount, they can also start doing something.
On our side, it seems price has not gone down yet. Some rather have increased. And, it's a bit of a challenge to us. For instance, we were even selling Calipo quite recently for 62 cedis. As of just last week, the price rose from 8 to 75 cedis. And other beverages as well, the price have gone up so much, which is a bit of a challenge to us over here. We don't have much control over the prices. It all depends upon the producers or the manufacturers. When they reduce their prices and the goods come down to us, it's easy for us to also reduce the prices. But if they don't reduce their prices, we have no other option than just to put our margins on it, maybe a CD or two on it, just to, make our profit. Yeah.
So government has introduced 3 new taxes, one of which will affect beverages, non-alcoholic drink, and the implementation began 1st May. Has that reflected on price?
Yeah, prices have reflected on some of the items. Majorly, the items that are produced here in Ghana, most of them have been increased. Like the beverages that we do sell here, the cola drinks and all those ones, the price have been increased. Unlike the ones that are imported, the price have not been increased so much. Because those ones, I think it depends upon the dollar CD rate that will cause it to increase. But for now, I think the ones that are produced locally, the price are a bit high. The price we are getting from our distributors, the prices hasn't changed so much. Some come and there's rather an increase in some of the prices. Some come and the price is the same. So we also stabilize our price at that same level. Yeah.
So, for example, 2 weeks ago, how much was the cola selling for and how much is it selling now?
The cola, let me use the Bell products, the Bell cola. Someone last 2 weeks it was selling for, we are getting around 30, 31 cedis, but right now we're selling around 34 cedis. So it has gone up a little. And as I was telling you, like the calipo, we were selling for 62 cedis, now we're selling for 75 cedis. Big growth, in it. So it's a bit of a challenge. Yeah.
Cooking oil. Sometime ago, 2 weeks ago, how much?
Cooking oil, the price has come down a little. For that much, it has come down a little. Cooking oil has come down a little, and it's a bit okay now. Unlike the previous months, the price were higher, but this time the price has been reduced. So we have also reduced our prices here. Yeah. Formerly, we were selling a liter of, let's say, fried oil for around 40 cedis. Now it has come down around 30 cedis, 32 cedis. So those ones have come down. But the beverages and other ones, the prices are still going up.
How has customer reactions been to the increase in the prices of the beverages, for example?
The customers normally react when there is some changes in prices. Normally, when the price goes up, they are slow in their buying. They come and they ask the price, thinking they're going to buy it in the old price. When they come and you tell them the price, they are just alarmed, and all they do is that they just back out. They just don't want to come in and buy again. They feel that the price is too much. Or some will go and maybe will come back later, and if the quantities that they want to buy, they will reduce the quantities. So it doesn't help in making good turnovers. To take care of other challenges in the work as well. We are being controlled by policies, and the policies, we can't do anything about it. So if the government brings out a policy and we have to abide by it, we all bite the bullet. There's nothing we can do about it. If prices or taxes are reduced, it will reflect in the goods that we are selling, and it will also reduce the price for the customers or the final consumers to also buy. But if the price increases, people adjust their way of spending. If maybe he has to spend some 3 cedis or 4 cedis on the drink, and the drink has been increased to 5 cedis, some may decide not to drink again. So you lose that customer, who is coming to buy that drink. So I think if the government, in a way, can find a way to mitigate these challenges and bring down prices, I think it's good for all of us.
Prices needed. See, I know enjoy one price. Over the baby banner, as on the broadcast 50. At the
moment, the prices differ. Sometimes they sell the items to us at 50 Ghana cedis. By the next morning, they increase it to 52 Ghana cedis.
I did one way 60 Ghana. On back to my number 70. A dozen. Yes, Rome, so much on my idea. I say, yeah, marketing. You're too much another marketing, I say. It will be back, knock at 60. Then I was 70.
Other times, I procure the items at a particular price, but by the next morning, there is a general reduction. Everyone at the market sells their products at different prices. I saw a packet of canned malt at 75 Ghana cedis, but some people sell theirs at 80 Ghana cedis.
Yes, Rome. Said the free fee be funny man or marketing. Yes, you be your customers, I'm betting on the Faco. Yes, you me a ton of boy in. So far, no price I make it a best say 2 months in me hand your mean 2 weeks. But I on my kaya hono. Now, me just said marketing, you get a one price. Obi a crown price. Obako Hano, me on 70, Obi on 75, Obi on 80. Me can not say, woman 12, meton 75 for her, but everybody 80.
If you go somewhere to purchase an item, the price might be different from mine because we all sell at different prices.
Maybe to understand, Senor, I say, to know the kitchen is a can or 200 years. This over time has 75, I'll go baby 60, 8, a idea on a sweating. No, why there will be a Juman or way. Until your price in the Enya back, a strong beyond the price. Ebina, Owaha, maybe Bejina has a walk it on the price. So, I'm 55.
A customer just approached me asking for a reduction in price. Reducing the price of the item will take away my profit.
But obi won so be yaman. Me menyi but obi yaman obi so odi beka ho so be kwakodu ono. Ebi kan so beto.
The money there first was said the abafo kakra nye say bebre na abafo.
I have reduced the prices of my items just by a small margin, but people are still not buying like they usually do because there's no money in the system.
Into market no scan near we are see. Rice in the abafo kakra nye say bebre na abafo. So the first etia akosoro bebre no.
The price of rice, for example, has been reduced slightly, but it is still expensive for customers.
Still ni boyedi. Still ni boyedi. Kakra bi na aba from still ni boyedi. Nti omu babisa omu ntumi nto. Nti scan ni ho. Nti anye say bebre na ya yisu. Sesi ati say aroma no yes.
Now, we sell a bag of aroma rice for 680 Ghana cedis, and customers find it expensive to purchase. We are pleading with the government to do something about the situation. Formerly, customers could afford 5 bags of rice at a go, but now they purchase just about 2 bags.
Those were
the concerns of some traders here at the Malata market. According to them, even with a significant drop in inflation, prices of goods in the market remain the same. For Joy Business, Jesse Aram Agbako.
So that was our AM business for you. Well, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll do the audience interaction where we pick your thought or we share your thought with the rest of our viewers around the world. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Now, just before I share your thought with the rest of our viewers, my colleague Bernice has been out engaging some of you on this reduction in transport fares. Let's hear what they have been telling her. Apologies for our inability to bring you that conversation that Bernice Abubedu Lanza had with some of you out there. But let's pick your thought by you calling us on our telephone lines and then sharing your thought with us here on the show, just as we prepare to be picking your calls. Let me try and run by you some of the thought that some of you have shared already on Facebook. Now, you can still go out there and leave your comments there. We'll share it with the rest of our viewers. Okay, let me see. Suraja Abubakari said, he just said, wow. Okay, I think that's in reference to Rafiq's report from that youth center there. Now, let me share with you more. Okay. So Ganiyu already has joined us on the Savannah from the Savannah region. Ganiyu, good morning to you. Kindly listen to me on the phone and let's hear your thoughts.
This is Abdul Ganiyu calling you from Doboya Mankargo in the Savannah region.
Okay.
I'll say good morning to you and good morning to your viewers out there. I think this morning you have tabled a lot of things all the time. We have been following Joy News. I think the issue of our drivers or the GPRTU, sometimes they have to know that immediately the fuel reduce, the fuel increase, they come out quickly to increase the lorry fare. But sometimes, if they reduce fuel, it's very difficult for them to reduce
the fares.
The fare. I don't know what is happening. If you complain, some of them will say that the parts of the cars are not still reducing, but forgotten that this is not the only time that we have been taking the cars from Tamale to Accra or Kumasi. But anytime they reduce fuel now and they say that you reduce their fares, they will now be saying that the parts are not reduced. I don't know whether the parts are fuel. The parts are not fuel. The parts are parts and the fuel is fuel. If you complain that it's fuel that are increasing, so you have to increase your fare. Immediately the fuel reduce, you have follow the fuel. Don't follow the path. But finally, the issue about Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia, we think Bawumia deserves to lead MPP come 2024. I follow you, Rafiq Salam, from WA, seeing the movement of Dr. Bawumia. He hasn't declared his intention yet, and he hasn't come out to launch his campaign. When you hear Dr. Bawumia's name, NDC panic, Joe Mama himself panic. It's automatically telling you that it's only Dr. Bawumia who can win NPP flag bearership election and go and win 2024 general election.
All right, Ganiyu. Okay, Ganiyu. I'm grateful to you. Now, Afele Fafali Fianyo from Facebook says they should reduce it to weren't they aware the increment would affect us when they were quick to increase the fares? When we complained, did they mind us? They are always quick to increase their fares, but reluctant in reducing it. Then he writes something, I cannot read that, but yeah, that's what he's writing on Facebook. You can also call us 03022211691, 03022211691. Call us and let's have a chat on the issues that we've brought you this morning. When you call us, kindly listen to us on the phone, not from the television, so we can have a good chat together. Ko Mensa Pilato on Facebook says, Dr. Bawumia has taken the lead. Woko Dadada, JDM, don't worry yourself, by Ko Mensa Pilar. Regards, okay. Theophilus Edu says, good morning. Musa Abatua says, IMF bailout program is not the solution to the economic crisis, but self-discipline and prudent economic policies, which this government is lacking, are the measures that will help stabilize the economy. The unprecedented level of corruption and mismanagement should stop immediately, or else this will totally collapse. God save Ghana. We do have our next caller. I think it's Richard from Budumbra. Richard, good morning to you. What's your thought? Did we lose Richard there? Okay. 0302211691. 0302211691. Call us from wherever you are following us from, and let's have your thought on the issues that we've brought to you this morning on the AM show. This is the part where we allow you to join us with your thought on the issue. So call us and let's have a conversation together. 0302211691. Okay. So we are going to Bolga. Hi to you. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Let's have your thought.
I want to add my voice with regards to the dams.
Okay.
I think it's high time we start punishing people for causing financial loss to the state. The dams, when they started to build them, we told them that I'm from Upper East region, and we are the people that this particular issue is affecting. We told them that the dams, when it's around March, the dams always dry up. But they told us that they will always connect water from other dams into those dams. So whenever whenever we do a dry season, they always pump the water from Adar River to north, and which is not possible. That's why we are having what we are having today. So I think it's high time we start prosecuting those people for causing financial loss to the state.
Okay, I agree with you perfectly. Well, you can also call us 030-221-1691, 030-221-1691. You can call us as well, and then we can pick your thought. Nana Yabuachi Yadomopoko Ajiman on Facebook is writing, good morning to you. You are the best. Dr. Uswe Friya Koto, as the leader of the MPP, will reset, reboot, and repair the party in 2025 and beyond. Akoto is coming to liberate Ghana from economic slavery. Nanabuachi Yadom there with that particular one. Simon from Tema. Hi, good morning to you, Simon.
Good morning, sir.
Let's hear your thought.
Okay. So what I want to say is that considering the prices of fare, the reduction of prices, I listened to the conversations with Duncan Awa and that of the parliamentary person on transport.
Honorable Kennedy, you're saying? Yako.
Very sure. It's very pathetic to say this. I think the chairman needs to educate himself more on this. Looking at the proposals that Duncan Amoa has brought up, that will help curb this problem of pricing in the transport pricing. He's still not buying into this idea. And these are people that have been put into positions to think strategically.
No, I think he agreed with him to a certain extent.
Then why
and said,
is he talking plenty and not trying to use those solutions? Because they are there to give us solutions. So if somebody has given you this idea, then put it into solution because you are the chairperson. But talking and going with all these things will not give us any results. So let them do their job. They have to be thinking strategically so that these things will be a thing of the past for us.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I think he agreed with him and also gave us the lesson on that new law they passed to empower the Road Safety Authority to then regulate the transport sector. But yeah, let's see how that goes in the coming days. Bra Harry on Facebook says, good work, keep it up. Okay, thank you so much, Bra Harry. That's for the Joy News brand. You can also call us on 030-221-1691 for us to have your thought on the issues that we've discussed on the show this morning. We've spoken about the transfer, the lorry fare reduction, and all of the issues that we've brought to you. Hi, good morning to you, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to contribute my quota based on this trend happening in our country.
Kindly do so, sir.
This our problem is the oil, and anytime the oil reduces, it has to affect a lot of things. So our leaders must be accountable. And another thing is not related to this topic, but the vice president speaking of new systems, looking at this passage, people on the street to eat, but the vice president is on busy taking pickups for campaigns. This is the little I have to put on. Thank you.
Okay, all right. That's his viewpoint as well. What's your viewpoint too? We can pick one last caller and then we call it a day on the AM show. It's 030-221-1691, 030-221-1691. Kindly join us with your thought on the issues. Now, Archibald Labi Mensah Ajay says, we are a failed state, period. Public transportation has been abandoned. So what do you expect? City authorities should be responsible for planning and execution of public transportation and not private organizations. That's what Archibald Labi Mensah is bringing in. Okay, thank you so much, Archibald. Okay, this is a very long one. Okay. Seshi, we also, okay. Joseph Coleman, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
I hope Seshi is fine.
Oh, it's very fine.
Let's hear you, sir.
Pardon me?
Let's hear you, sir.
Yeah, you see, Ghana has come to a state whereby anybody who stands at an advantageous situation or position wants to take advantage of everybody.
Look at our politicians. Because they stand at an advantageous position, they've cut very big salaries for themselves. Instead of creating a good situation or a good economic situation for the country, it is worse, but they still take ex-gratia. So everybody wants to take the advantage. So I don't understand. The drivers still want to take the advantage of the nation. That is where Ghana has come up to. If the country will go and let the politicians say that we won't take any ex-gratia because we have not created any good money for the country, that we should take excess. And then everybody will also, but I'm not saying this to mean that I sympathize with the drivers. The drivers have to do the fares because in reality the fares are very too high. Short distance, 1 kilometer, they take 4 cities. Very, very high.
They are not reducing it this morning?
No, nothing is happening. Only I've heard from from one of the stations that the DC is going to meet the drivers and then they will talk over issues. But for now, nothing has been done.
Wow.
Nothing has been done.
Okay,
And,
thank you.
And you see, it is coming from the top. The politicians should know that we are looking at them.
Well,
And we are taking
the
clues from
communication has
whatever they are
already
doing.
been done. I guess the drivers would have to follow. And we, the commuters, would also have to insist on paying what the GPRTU has communicated. But yeah, interesting information coming in from Seshu. We're also grateful that you could join us with your thought. Happy birthday to you, Ephraim Awoku. You're the CEO of Studio HD. Now, we understand you always go out of your way to ensure clients are given tailor-made solutions, even in the face of insurmountable challenges. The board, management, and entire team at Studio HD wish you a happy birthday, Ephraim Awoku. Good morning to you, sir, and enjoy your birthday. Also, good morning to you, Chairman Alamu of Ghana Gas. Do enjoy your day. And that's how we call it a day on the AM show. Thanks for being a part of it. We meet again, God willing, tomorrow. News Desk is up next.